Welcome, everybody, to the Group Nirvana Takeover. Oh, okay, sorry, I read my script wrong on that one. It's actually the play-in stage, as we are back for another day of Group Nirvana Group Ascend Mayhem. And mayhem is definitely the word that we want to emphasize here, knowing the last two series we've seen so far. But today, well, we've got our most lopsided matchup when it comes to these two groups from the Rumble stage. You'll have myself and Cubby taking you through Weibo Gaming, taking on Ultra Prime. Cubby, the very top of the middle of the back of Group Ascend versus the very bottom of the middle of Group Nirvana. I'm sure that'll be easier to explain as we go on.
Yeah, you know, we were looking at some of the games. Was NIP winning truly a surprise for Group Nirvana? Not as much. EDG, kind of. If Ultra Prime were to beat Weibo today, that would be astronomical in terms of the level of surprises that we have. But we'll see what we have in store with us today. Slayer, definitely know that we have had an exciting play-in stage so far, as a couple of our Nirvana teams have stepped up to the plate and have taken down the couple of weaker teams we've had from Group Ascension. And
look, Cubby, what visuals do to try and make points that was earlier here. Now I can go back through it, right? Weibo, as you can see, as we soak in the standings to understand how all these matchups go. At the 5th seed, the bottom of the middle of the pack, like I tried to say, and then you've got Ultra Prime. 4th seed, the bottom of those Group Nirvana teams, they match up, and this sets up our most one-sided matchup of these planes. But let's just take in all the planes in case you have missed any of the current matchups that we've got going on here in front of us. A little bit off order, but now you can kind of soak in fully, Cubby, how you mentioned it. Fun it's been to see NIP, ADG come away with the win, but I want to relabel it for a second. It's historical that we can now say Group Nirvana teams are going to the playoffs and beating Group Ascend teams in plays. That's something in the short time it's existed really hasn't ever happened.
Yeah, again, we have not seen any Group Nirvana teams win until we reached the Split 3 playoffs. So the fact that we did have NIP win, again, a team that did say worlds or bust with Doinby coming back, that was a big win for them. EDG, they had some stumbles in Group Nirvana towards the later half of the split, but hey, still, I think we're our strongest team when you look at the dominance they had in the group, just pound for pound all year. They found the win against Team WE. Now, the other two teams that we have today, Slayer, it was a little bit more of a question of whether or not we'd even see Ultra Prime make it here, or whether LGD would make it to actually fight in the play-in stage. So the fact that, you know, we aren't coming into these days expecting an upset, but then again, I wasn't expecting Edward Gaming to actually be able to beat Team WE even. So that was a bit of a surprise for me, and we'll see if we have any more in stores. It would be a monumental upset if Ultra Prime were to take down Weibo today. Again, probably not going to be the case, but we'll see.
Without a doubt, Cubby, as we will get a look at what is being played for here and what is soon to come. Starting next week's time, we will be officially into our final playoff run of the LPL with all the awesome things at stake. Cubby, the easy way to soak this one in, and the best way to soak this one in, by the way, 18 best of 5s is how we fill out this bracket in front of us.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I know that historically, I mean, look, as a League of Legends fan, this is my favorite time of year when all the domestic leagues decide who gets sent to Worlds. And a lot of past years, I've had to play catch-up with the LPL and just enjoying this playoff bracket. I think it's one where we've always had chaos at this point of the year for LPL. These series have always delivered with how close this region can be, with how bloody this region can be. Always pack some surprises as well. So I know we don't have our playoff bracket fully populated yet, but definitely hope that, you know, for the more loyal fans at home watching the LPL, you're trying to spread this league around to some of your friends at this time of year, because it does get quite fun and exciting. Yeah,
this is the best time to be an LPL fan and just a League of Legends esports fan in general. But you're talking about, you know, narrowing things down more. Let's narrow down the focus even further to some of the Worlds qualification conversations as we start to break out our calculators and play the championship points game. As all you LPL long-standing fans know, the regional qualifiers are another way for teams that don't get very far in our playoff bracket to have a chance at the big international tournament. And Cubby, the main thing that we need to get out of the way now is how weird the bottom of this looks right now with WE. So explain to me and the people, Cubby, why WE are in 9th despite having more points than the next 4 teams above them. What's going on there?
It's points that you can get that are left. So Team WE, with that loss against EDG last night, they're eliminated from even being able to fight for Worlds. So we will not see Team WE again, which is pretty big. So yeah, they might have more points than the teams above, but just points that are left on the table, on the docket. Not going to see them again. So yeah, I mean, pretty wild to think about the fact that, teams like Team WE, that we're really making that big surprise splash, the fact that they're out. But it speaks to how heavily weighted Summer is. And look, I've had a love-hate relationship with points in the past. I think that the more heavily weighted Summer is, the better. So the fact that we have teams that are hot now, they are the ones that get the fight for Worlds, I think that's a positive. But hey, a bit bummed to not see Team WE compete again, because Monkey was a really exciting player.
And for all your mathematicians out there, the reason why they are at 30 points and cannot go forward is because you can see towards the bottom right there, the 5th, 6th in split 3 gets you 40 points. So now NIP, EDG, JDG, and Weibo.
Pieces like that, Slayer. You set me up. You actually had the answer. I was like, oh, the
it's like a teacher moment,
not
right?
That big. And then the teacher's like, well, yeah, if you look here at the key,
if you look, it's
actually you can do the math on there.
It's like your English teacher when they ask you for an answer for something you read and you have to explain how you got there. It's like, not quite. You can't get there. That's a whole other thing we get into.
Tell me that.
Yeah. Spark Notes.
We had Spark Notes, not ChatGPT. Yeah.
Listen, all right. I did not move over to the ChatGPT era. All right. I also had Spark Notes. I'll shout out all the like Gen Z millennial mixers. Chegg. Everyone knows Chegg from your college time.
Chegg was great.
On there.
Yeah, I mean, I saved money on a lot of tech books from that. Yeah.
Yeah, ton of money.
Sponsor us. That'd be welcome. I might need those more in the future. Who knows? Yeah.
We'll have to see here. You know what you don't have to study for? To understand the roster Weibo is bringing, because if you've been watching the LPL at all this year, you are very familiar with this roster. Let's introduce one of our biggest teams coming into the play-ins. Weibo Gaming, Breathe on the top side, Tien in the jungle, Xiao Hu in the mid lane, Light, and then the newest member of this split, Crisp, going to round out a roster that Cubby, we're going to start talking about now, and we're not going to end talking about. This team needs to get to this regional qualifier. This team needs to be a Worlds contender with the names on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, perennially, these players have been Worlds contenders, and I think this is a team where if you're not an LPL fan, just used to, watching the international tournaments, you might look at the LPL and this split come back in and be like, oh, why is that Weibo team not doing that well? Well, it's been a tough split for Weibo, and I think that a lot of the times as a broadcast, we've talked about Xiao Hu, because at times he's had good games and bad games, and that's really dictated the performance of Weibo as someone that is a leader in a lot of the teams he's in, including this Weibo one. Or other times we talked about Tien and Breathe, who we still feel like are playing okay. We haven't talked a lot about the bot lane, Slayer, as a broadcast.
No.
And we've kind of had difficulty talking about them at times, because Light and Crisp are players that we're used to playing very well at the highest level that we really haven't seen play at their best, which has prevented Weibo from hitting higher levels that they will need if they want to fight for a world slot.
You're definitely right there, Cubby, and we'll get to that bottom lane point a bit later here in our pre-show. Right now, one of the names I want to focus on that you just talked about is Breathe in this top side, because I do believe, while, maybe Split 3 was a bit of a dip down, I still think of Breathe as Mr. Consistent. I think he really showed that in Split 2, and he's the guy that, in laning phase, like you talked about the bottom lane, what we saw with the shortcomings from Xiao Hu in the mid lane, laning phase-wise, he might be the most reliable player on this team.
Yeah, look, Breathe has done his job, it feels like, in a lot of these games, and if you're a top laner doing your job, it doesn't always mean that you find every win in the book, but we have seen Breathe, I think, have some standout performances or moments, but a lot of the times it's just him, I think, quietly going about his business while the game is oftentimes decided by players around him, and it speaks to some of what we've seen from Breathe this split, because he is a member that we have talked about positively when it comes to Weibo Gaming, despite this roster not really meeting the expectations that we had for them, not the expectations they should have for themselves. It feels like Breathe has still been pretty solid up there in the top lane.
And what's fun about the most recent series when they had their back-to-back up against JDG, both of those series matching up, was this Aurora game, right? Because Breathe, this split has been, the guy that'll play Gnar. He'll play some of these tanks occasionally. He still has a pretty good Yorick that I hope we see in this series. But him being able to pick up this top lane carry and then deliver on it in this pretty close game up against JDG, I think that kind of might be showing a little bit of a playoff edge coming in here for Breathe. And like we talked about with Weibo, Cubby, They need peak performances from everybody on this roster with the road. They have to go on just to get to the regional qualifier, and then even further if they want to actually end up making Worlds.
They do, and I think that Breathe, for me, is the player that has to just kind of keep his form, right? Yes. It feels like other players have to elevate. It would be great if Breathe elevates, but hey, for me, it really is Light and Crisp that need to level up if Weibo wants to have a chance to fight the teams that are at the top of the LPL and fight for that world slot.
Without a doubt. And we're talking about raising up, level of play. Well, Ultra Prime, they've got to soar above a very high marker here if they want to be competitive in our minds in this series. Let's introduce the Ultra Prime roster making their first postseason quotation mark appearance of the entire year. But not with this 5. This 5 are the ones to get it done in Split 3. It's Zhang in the top side, Junhao in the jungle, Saber in the mid lane, Baya, the latest new AD carry, next to Xiaosa. And this top side for Ultra Prime, we're just talking about Breathe here, Cubby. It's been the positive form, and would you dare say the reason why they end up making the play-in stage?
Yeah, look, I mean, when we talk about some of the Group Nirvana teams, at times, we were pretty aggressive with how we postured with EDG. Like, when they started off on such the hot streak, we're like, hey, this is not a Group Nirvana team. We feel like this team, with how they're playing the eye test, they can compete with some of the Group Ascension teams. Yeah, they proved that last night. Ultra Prime's Group Nirvana team. We just have to kind of, put the microscope on and feel like, okay, who are the pieces that we think are playing decent or may be able to punch a weight class above them? It's that top side and Junhao and Zhang. I think that both these players have actually had a really nice split, and I'm excited to see what they look like with a test today against world-class players in the like of Tiana Breathe.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun to, like you said, put that microscope on, especially the top lane like we talked about with Breathe. Because Zhang, I really think, is the one. Junhao, I think, came into form towards the end of Group Nirvana, was able to be the reason why they did get into this play-in stage. But I want to make sure Zhang gets his flowers as a player that, comes from, the other region, comes from playing against, like, CFO squads, who's beating up on a lot of those top laners, comes over the LPL, and it took to get to Split 3, but it really feels like, watching back on some of his older clips, the Zhang that always existed in other regions finally showing up in Group Nirvana.
Yeah, I do think that Zhang's had a really, really nice split, actually. And I didn't feel the same way about him in Split 1 and 2. It was kind of like, okay, the player that was talented in the PCS, we really haven't seen him yet. That changed this split. I think we saw a really good Zhang in Group Nirvana. It was more the player that was pitched to me from people that have followed the PCS in the past, now the LCP, and said, hey, this guy does have some game, right? We really saw that with how he played this split. So excited to see what he can do up against Breathe today. Again, I think that for Weibo, Breathe has kind of been the silent performer, where that Zhang, I think, has somewhat taken the same role for Ultra Prime. It's just that I really feel like Zhang has leveled up this split, whereas Breathe has kind of been that player for Weibo for the entirety of the year.
Yeah. I think if you put their level of play up in graphs, it would be very intriguing sort of way to visualize their splits. Gotta be good on you there. You bounced out. English class wasn't too good with the championship points, but you bounced back when we brought the graphs out.
I was always better at math.
Yeah, breaking out the graphs. Here, listen, we don't need graphs. We don't need graphs. We don't need any sort of passages. We're just going to throw some facts at you as we start talking about these bottom lanes. Cubby, you started talking about it a little bit here for Weibo, but I really want to emphasize from a historical lens. I'll go to my favorite subject. Historically, the difference between these two bottom lanes based off of their accolades.
Yeah, look, it really has been, again, perennial world contenders when you look at Light and Crisp. I don't think that Light obviously has had the same success that Crisp has had, being an actual world champion in his own right. But hey, these guys have competed at the highest level in the past. I mean, Light made that Worlds final with the Shy in that version of Weibo, right? He has been in LPL finals as well, whereas Baya and Xiaoxia, they're kind of just lucky to be here. I mean, they're the ones that are competing in the LDL before this, right? Trying to find that experience up here. Again, a big chance for them. They haven't played players of the caliber of this outside of Doinby all year, really, when it comes to Ultra Prime. I mean, they've been in Group Nirvana now for 2 splits straight, and man, I don't even think they saw the playoffs last split, right? They were just in that middle where you don't get relegated, but you also don't make the play-in stage. So for Ultra Prime, it has been a better look for them this split. But it was more of a, hey, we just kind of barely got here because Young and Junhao played like good enough for us, right? So we'll see the bot lane again. We really want to see Weibo outclass this team, because if this team does want to have some world hopes, they're going to need to be dominant tonight and start to be dominant for the playoffs, because we really haven't seen that Weibo yet.
Yeah, and that is what we're pushing here. Listen, folks, we're not. I am all for classic LPL shenanigans. I am all for the shock and awe that would be Ultra Prime being able to knock down a team, and like you're seeing now, a bottom lane of this caliber even of past. But the fact of the matter is, this is very much so a Group Ascend versus Group Nirvana team. And you can see that our predictions for today, Cubby, are very much so reflecting it. Really quickly before you go, Cubby, Mr. Andrew Grapes, I see what you're doing out there, man, all right? He is trying to get out of Ultra Prime cast for 2026 by predicting them to win in this series. I know your games, Grapes. Just want to make sure you know.
I thought that was just Rafa, but he tried to submit a new profile picture to hide himself from being, being an op. Mine's not in there. I didn't submit, but I'll go with the Discord. If you guys want to have your voices heard when it comes to our match predictions for playoffs, scan the QR code on your screen. You can use that to join our Discord and make your own predictions to join. So I'm with the Discord today. I think we're going to be in for a quick night when it comes to Weibo. See if Ultra Prime can find any games, but this isn't one of the Group Nirvana games. We're kind of excited to see if magic can happen. If you're a Weibo fan, you're hoping this is more of a tune-up game for them to find their form for playoffs. And hey, if Ultra Prime Group Nirvana finds the win today, we're going to have to really start wondering what was in the water down there, because that would be a monumental victory for Ultra Prime and really an organization in the LPL.
I can confirm that nobody at LPL English would have expected three Nirvana teams to be 3-0 out the gate.
No,
that would
2-0 like you could see so far. I feel like NIP was favored, and the EDG win, while somewhat surprising, not shocking, right?
Nope. Yeah, this one would be shocking. Let's see if it can start here in game one. We are already underway in our first draft here with Weibo on that blue side. And Cubby already thinking about some of these powerful top lane picks that are getting through this ban phase for that lane that we really highlighted. Zhang likes to go to the Ambessa. Both these players can go towards Gwen,
Talia's
Rumble.
up.
All of these champions are up alongside the Talia, but Breathe wants the Rumble and is going to grab that one up for Weibo.
Man, I got to imagine that Saber wants to grab the Talia now, because it has been such a big pick for Xiaohu throughout this year for Weibo, really, as well. I mean, he has been really big when it comes to playing the Talia. I know Ryze has fallen off a little bit, but his ability to impact the map on those champs is big. So if it's not answered here really and taken by Saber, I think it's going to be an easy Rumble Talia that we see off the rip here. And we'll see what kind of jungler they want to pair with that as well. It's Sion, so just grab Trundle.
Cubby, listen, I know this... you don't have to make the matchup one-sided in draft, Ultra Prime. Are we really about to see Rumble, Trundle, Talia all on the same team? Like, that has not happened. I make it fact
Well, I mean, Trundle was nerfed, so we took Trundle down a few pegs, at least.
But, yes, but with a Sion already picked, right? Like, the value you already... I mean, I see some of these Weibo players smiling. I think they're as shocked that they've landed on this first start of a draft than Ultra Prime is, or than we
I'd
are.
be pretty happy with Talia too. I know that Xiaohu doesn't have the best win rate on it, but it is his most played this split. Jarvan picked up to try and interact with the Trundle and Talia. I will say Jarvan and Talia, you do have some positive interactions. You can flag a drag to buffer the flick, and then the Cataclysm as well to go unstoppable. And also lock Talia into the terrains. Not bad. But yeah, look, I think from here, I am with you, Slayer. You're in the hole as Ultra Prime. Like that. Yeah. That Trundle gets a lot of value into the Sion. Not to mention, like, the really Rumble now. If you take away Sion's resistances, I mean, Rumble can do significant damage to pretty much everyone on the screen. So, yeah, I'm with you that Ultra Prime put themselves in the hole. I would love to see an Orianna ban from Weibo to at least take that Wombo away from Saber.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I don't hate limiting good Nico pairings, though. That's why they take away the Kaisa. If you really want to just take Gaia, Galio's a good ban with double AP. There's a lot of good options to go with here. Weibo, they're just going to go after Bias champion pool. So the guy with the least amount of LPL reps in this entire series gets two of his most favorite champions take off the board, and now he's going to end up landing on that Corki. Still a good pick, but not as comfortable like he is on the Sivir, which was his most played this split so far for Baya.
We'll say this took away some of the options for Light, because you got to play in the Jarvan. Like, you don't want to grab Xayah here. Probably not the Jarvan, so I think it's going to be
Jhin. Jins. Yeah, I think he's been one of the most consistent Jins this year.
You already, I mean, you are a little bit maybe less concerned about Sion. It still is a Sion, and he's going to subjugate on him. But Sion, like, even with subjugate this game, it's not the most DPS coming out of Weibo now with the Jhin to actually get through that. So... But I mean, you play out of the range of the Nico, of the Cataclysm as well. So definitely can see the logic there for Light. Just a little bit more of a utility pick. Just interested to see what Saber grabs here. Because I think if you go for something like Orianna, which I was asking for the ban for, you do have real ways to actually try to make plays now as Ultra Prime. So I know that we weren't thrilled with Sion being taken when it's answered by Trundle and Talia. But in the end, at least Ultra Prime, I mean, you have a Nico to set up. You have the Sion, the Orianna, the Jarvan with real setup. And Weibo, I mean, it still is a Jhin with pretty heavy magic damage behind it. I'm going to have to see, you know, how much mileage can subjugate with Rumble until we get into this Sion to make sure that Ultra Prime isn't tanky enough. Because the team fight from Ultra Prime showing, it's pretty executable. I'm just worried about, you know, how far behind are they going to be from this early game? Exactly. That's really where my head's at.
Exactly, Cubby. I think you've made, you know, really great points just kind of, you know, focusing in on the draft itself. But what I want to, you know, use to kind of pilot Weibo's draft for me is zooming back out and knowing the matchup we have ahead of ourselves, right? Rumble into Sion. You've got the Trundle into J4. You've got the Jhin range with the Rel threat. Weibo wants to get this game in their control as quickly as possible. They feel like, well, they know, honestly, that they are the much better team, the favorite in this matchup. So they picked a draft to try and just snowball as hard as they can as early as possible. Not a bad strategy in my mind. I think this draft kind of reflects that ideology.
Yeah, we'll see if they can execute into it, as I think that Weibo has been a team where they try and play early game for better or worse. Sometimes things go pretty sour for them in Group Ascension. Of course, going up against the Group Nirvana squad in Ultra Prime should outclass them, but we'll see if they can make sure that these winning lanes they've taken get far ahead enough to make sure they have a lead at these early fights.
Let's get into it. Our first game of potentially 5, at least 3. Weibo from Group Ascend taking on Group Nirvana's Ultra Prime as the Jayos send us in. Oh, I think we're
they were there.
We stuff for the Ultra Prime. No, they were there for Weibo. I was curious if we're gonna see anything from Ultra Prime. Hello, somebody is also Weibo favored in this one. It's our good old AI friend there up in the computer. Thinks that Weibo completely dismantled this draft. Gabby?
I don't blame him, man. I see a Trundle on my screen versus a Sion, and I'm pretty happy. We'll see if Junhao is going to drop the flag ahead.
Oh, he dropped it.
Behind him.
Well, it's behind him. He thought they were going to come invade behind him, and instead they're right on top of him. And now he has nothing. He's going to go for the bush trick flash, but there was a ward in it. Oh, Cubby, that is as poetic as it can get for the start of this series. Oh, no.
You know what? That might be the game or the series that we're in for, Slayer. It could not be. It's the LPL. We're just going to say we're starting off some chaos, and that's it. But Tian gets a banger start. And this is only going to help the winning lanes more, as Tian is starting. Take it away, Jarvan's Quadrant. Jarvan is really not a champion level 1. Trundle finds him early on. It is quite bad. I do like the fact that Tian and Weibo are playing around with that, as Tian's going to take 2 camps for himself, return to his own camps, and should be able to protect his bot side too, as I don't see a way that Jarvan gets to fight for that quadrant with where this bot lane's at.
I just can't believe that I think is the first time in any cast I've ever done that I watched somebody try the bush flash to try and juke. Boy, did it not work. Junhao, my friend. Well, let's see. All right, he's onto the Raptors. Yeah, he should get these. As we're gonna replay. Oh, okay, we're going the long route.
He did have a ward on the blue buff, by the way. So if he sees the Trundle not on blue buff, but we're gonna get the replay instead.
Don't slow-mo the flash, please. Don't do Junhao like that. He's had a better split than this. please.
I mean, that was quite the swag flag. And the worst part about it is that, I mean, that's kind of a bang-bang play. Breathe knew what could be coming, at least.
He did.
He was locked in. That's what you like to see.
Good to see Weibo players locked in, knowing the road ahead is, oh my god, see how it takes a turret shot there. Having to flash out as Chris gets a good first crash down. Light holding on to that crit shot, clutching it dearly. But they're just going to be happy getting both summoners out of the Nico early and often. Tien often ganking on this Trundle, going after Saber, and just like that, another Ultra Prime member going to drop their flash.
10 should be able to lock down that crab too. And a rinse and repeat available now. Definitely necessary, as in isolation, the Orianna versus Talia does go Orianna's way pretty heavily as doubles get involved too. So I like the fact that Tien's taken a little bit of time to make sure that his mid-laner will be set up for a little bit more success. And Junhao continues to exclusively perform his clear on the wards. As he has been tracked very well after the initial play as well.
There could be a dive angle here, though, and Light sensing it. Going to step back away from his turret. Heads up play. Junhao is going to steal away those Krugs. Tien's not going to be anywhere near this. Xiaohu, I thought maybe holding his teleport to cover for the dive. He'll TV back mid, so just a safe cover there. Light going to lose a couple of minions, but good, you know, responsible play there. And the cherry on top for Weibo is Chris gets to cancel Junhao's base for just a little bit longer.
That might actually get Tien the Raptor camp now, because you can see the pings are going on the enemy Raptors, which he did take second, so I think he gets to contest them. Like, would be a little bit more action here. Do like how Ultra Prime actually looking for the lane swap. They are the Scion team.
Yeah.
And they might be able to defend the Raptors with this. I don't think they're going to be late to the play. But at least the idea was there.
Tien has smite advantage here, too, as well. So he's going to smite away the big one. They're going to trade the little guys. There's still a win there for Tien. He's able to pick up that camp. Also spotting Junhao. I wonder if he's... Oh, actually, never mind. I've got my dragon timers missed out. I was going to see if he would be willing to sprint all the way down there to start up the Drake. But it's actually Breathe who's going to get jumped on here. Which one's the real Baya? Well, it's not really going to matter because one of them's going to make you flash. And the flash coming out from Breathe there. So good little collapse coming from the swap you called out, Cubby.
Yeah, I mean, that's a win, right? They get a summoner spell. They get something. Porky has the Coal tier too, so they can hopefully just throw him up there, buy some time, seed the first Drake, and make sure their marksmen are going to be happy. As we actually are going to keep the 1v1 and 1v2 setup as Breathe TP'd back. I will say I'm a little bit surprised by that. They're going to bring Chris back up here to make this a 2v2. This is, I mean, it's technically winning with the Rumble and the Rel. Like, they should be okay. The damage can't really stick. So I guess you're getting Light some solo XP, like some solo time. Could be worse.
Which I'm a fan of, knowing how Jin works with levels, especially for some of those other marksmen. And
yeah, you don't get the free Drake though. Like this is this is where it's a little bit curious. As Tien's gonna
go for this. Yeah, he's gonna go after Zhang. Does have unstoppable onslaught and flash. He's also tanky. And there's no way for Tien to really threaten without the subjugate. Maybe also slow down, see that Junhao is clearing out his own pink ward from that Drake pit. So that's going to stifle the gank there for Weibo, but Junhao sees himself a pretty unique path after the Spring Tiger. Xiaohu going to walk his way back towards the top side. He'll be safe, so did have an inkling, like you called out there, Cubby, that the gank was coming.
Yeah, if we didn't know that one was coming, I don't think we would be a pro player in the end. As we're going to have a TP come down.
Yep. Oh, flash out of Zhang. If he gets that knockup, we see a classic Zhang solo kill, as he has in so many Group Nirvana games. Not going to get away with that in a play-in stage. You can already see the heightened stakes showing up. Just mere minutes into this one for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, good get on the Deadly Flourish as they get Zhang's flash for it. And that attempt, where you do have the advantage as the Scion at the moment, goes to the wayside. And again, kind of attempting that on the weak side, as you said. Ends up leading to a Summoner Spell punish, and the Dragon falls anyway. So, we don't have Grubs up yet. We could see a reset come in, and Weibo maybe think about contesting this one if Breathe wants to base after this wave. Curious if that ends up being the move.
It's going to be interesting to see what camps are up at this current point, right? Junhao has 2 on his top side, so he can walk his way back towards the Grubs. He will. Tien can naturally path back up towards them with his camp spawns, but they're going to be very late. Tien actually takes this reset 15 seconds away from the grubs spawning. That just makes Weibo very late to this play.
He'll be late. Yeah, didn't get a ton for it either. The important part, though, is that the bot lane did decide to go up top to match the swap. And this does mean that Zhong, who did burn his TP to go bot, is going to have to wait for his ultimate to get involved, or walks up on this timer as he to get priorities. So the TP burned to then get bot push and walk up and pressure like this. He's down ult still. But you match this with Tien's late recall, and it's Grubs going over to the Ultra Prime.
Really like that move from Zhong to get the most out of his teleport advantage.
Yeah,
there.
Good shift from Saber, too, as he goes to catch bot as well. I know they're going to leave the last Grub, but they can kind of return to the scene of the crime if they want. They already secured the 2, so that's important for feats. So not all bad.
Yeah, I don't like that hesitancy, though. I think they saw a lot of people on the map. Who hadn't they seen yet? Tien, you might think was clearing out those camps. I think they can just get away with those 3 grubs, but instead, Tien's going to make sure he gets his own eats here. We do see a Deadly Flourish land on the Xiaosa. Luckily, Zhou out here is able to body block for the Nico. But you're already starting to see why myself and some other people around this Weibo bottom lane, I've really been a fan of Light's Jhin games, and part of the reason is he's pretty darn accurate with these snares.
Yeah, he's 1 and 3 on the pick this split, but he has had some good looks with it. Again, hasn't been smooth sailing for Weibo. But Light, I think that Light, for me, when I think of him, I do think of some of the utility picks. I think his Ashe in particular, champion that I've always really positively associated with Light, when I'm kind of bummed he hasn't pulled out as much.
Saber right to the face. I was going to say, the way he pathed there, he was baiting in that pillar, but that is his flash down. Basically, it's been on timer since this game has started, Gubby.
I do really like that Weibo has made a concerted effort to make sure that Orianna is down that. Definitely really warps that mid lane matchup, because if you don't have flash and that power lands, well, the trundle damage is significant. And Orianna can play up and win this matchup if she's allowed to, but with no flash, made things tough. So, had to go away that Weibo is slowed down Ultra Prime. We are 10 minutes in. I'd say a dragon up, 1 to 2 grubs, and only up a little bit of gold, though. Probably not exactly that Weibo wants. I don't want to say it's not enough yet, but do want to see them continue to keep the pace of this game moving.
What I do think will do a good job of that is we're already kind of seeing reflected in their items. Mainly want to point out the fact that Light is going to be with that Dirk alongside the other components for a Youmuu's.
Yep.
He's going to get that, big first item spike. So this is what you can see, the 2 decisions on Jhin players, going either the Collector, which kind of leans more into the crit scaling, and then you've got this Youmuu's that enables you to be as, damage-oriented as you can be as an AD carry off first item. And that, like we talked about, reflects what we expect Weibo to do, which is try and run this game over from the mid-game and make sure that scaling really isn't ever a conversation.
Yeah, look, this Scion will be a problem later on. But you can see right now, Breathe is melting this guy.
Not right now. 2 full cycles of the spells. That's always a good thing if you're playing a champion.
We'll take an overheat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good overheat find. And now we see Jhin how he's going to be hovering. Zhong will need the base. And this means that Breathe is going to get another wave in, and should be 2 plates going over to the Rumble. Tien's going to cancel this. That's a lot of pressure now.
Yeah, I'm watching Junhao. He's not trying to come up here. He is close by. Now he's going to flag and drag back towards his top
laner. He's got
laner.
flash up.
Tien's going to cut him off. So, again, just kind of threatening these dives, threatening the aggression. Yeah. Weibo's trying to use that first kill lead. Maybe they'll look for a collapse here on his Junhao. Nope.
I think flash is enough. I think that they're just trying to make it so that, now that he has to stay 1 more wave, yes, he bases, but Rumble can delete this. Saber's
caught with no flash. The shockwave does nothing. Chris was able to pick him off.
Now you have a dragon
timer. Grabs that kill, and like you called out, leads exponential.
Yeah, now you have a dragon timer. So I don't think that dive top was ever real. I think they were just trying to delay his base 1 wave, and then the walk came in. Saber didn't deal with it well. Being down flash, he gets found. Mid laner down, dragon down, as Weibo find 2 big wins.
And open themselves up to a big win con. This is Dragon stacking coming online, and Well, they won't get the one they're probably looking for. I would have said Hex Tech would have been nice. Mountain would have been very nice. But Cloud Soul on a Trundle, Cloud Soul on a Talia, any support, engaged support, always good. And hey, it's still a Drake Soul. And that is always something to play for to win games in the LPL.
Yeah.
That's what Weibo's going to look for going forward.
I would like to continue to stack those dragons. As if this one goes late, Ultra Prime do have a lot of ways to bounce back into the game. As a lot of info being picked up here by this sneaky Nico. It's going to have to find its way out, but going to...
Pop Blossom, they're going to actually look to throw this right back at Weibo. Crystal has Magnet Storm crash down. He's able to get a double man stun, and Chris just wasn't the right target to go for here. But Ultra Prime, they only had one option, and now the reality is the gray screen. A double kill picked up there for Xiaohu, Feats of Warfare, and now the Locomotive really churning on the tracks here for WBG.
Yeah, I mean, one option was for Xiaohu to just get out of there, but Ultra Prime, they saw red, and they're seeing gray after that. As, man, that combo from Crisp and Xiaohu is rather clean, though, no? Good setup there. Magnet Storm into the flick.
It's a recipe that they look to replicate over and over again in this game, Cubby. Is that gold lead has started to really open up. You can see it reflected in some of these further items as we get a look back at that nice combo you were alluding to.
I mean, I guess they knew that Xiaohu would have been a little bit late in terms of the reset, but I don't think this play is ever really real.
How does Baya get in? I just don't know.
Especially, I mean, you'd have to ult Crisp where he's down flash. I think if you Cataclysm Crisp, it's a maybe, but that combo was beautiful from Crisp and Xiaohu syncing up as... That was definitely one that if you're a Weibo fan, hope to see a little bit more of in this one. As it really has been for Weibo. I mean, this has been a really steady early game. I know that, you know, Ultra Prime's an opponent they outclass Slayer, but we were looking at this series as, you know, how dominant can Weibo win this, right? Because if this isn't a clean series, then we have to really... you know, have even more concern than we already do for Weibo's hopes to make a run here after the regular season.
While it is a bit easier for them to get to those regional qualifiers with WE knocked out of the way, yeah, they need to look polished because there are hungry Nirvana teams now in the playoffs with EDG and NIP waiting in the wings. So Weibo really need to show that they are sharp. So far, though, through the first 15 minutes through the early game phase, they've looked pretty darn sharp, and they're going to look to take their talents up towards the top side. And this Herald, the TN, will be able to secure uncontested. Now, Ultra Prime going to make it a problem that they've lost the Herald. They're going to TP down Saber, but there was only scraps to be found here. There was nothing seemingly near a fight brewing.
Going to be taking Vision first. As, I mean, I don't know if Ultra Prime... Like, what fight can they even look for? It's not like Summoner Spell. Yeah, it's not like Summoner Spells are a thing. Well, instantly dropped by TN and Ultra Prime. They looked at it. They couldn't find it. And now Junhao.
They're taking over jungle, too. Just like this game started, the topside jungle being an issue for Junhao. And getting that pressure onto the jungler means that they are going to be able to knock down this first turret as well. Would have secured feats of strength. They already had them. What a clean early game here from Weibo against Ultra Prime as they even get the second crash into the turret. And Cubby, I'm sure some viewers are sitting here thinking, man, Weibo, they're running early games. I'd love if I was able to take over an early game like that in my own solo queue games. Well, hey, if you want to learn from the best, we've got a sponsor for you. Got to shout out our people over at prodiff.gg. You can improve your game in your own solo queue games, learning from the best in the NACLs, ERLs, and even the LTA. We've seen awesome, you know, segments from music. We've also been able, you know, to have, you know, some really cool people come on top of our show and talk about their pro diff coaching sessions. So make sure to use our code and check them out. We really appreciate prodiff.gg this split.
Had a lot of junglers on there. I know that if I want Trundle advice, I definitely considered Kizno. Actually had some pretty salvage Trundle games in NACL throughout his run. I know he put a lot of time into that in his own Korean boot camp. So thank you to ProDiffs for supporting the LPL, as we're going to have a bit of a seesaw map state here, Slayer. It looks like Weibo Gaming, I know this dragon's spawning, but they have Xiaohu up top. He does have TP and Weaver's Wall to get involved. Rumble deletes the wave. Shockwave burned early. If Breathe's able to get a TP back, then that means the Dragon's going to be pretty tough for Ultra Prime to take, I gotta say.
Here we go. Xiaoxiao looking to make up for his earlier woes. Gets a good pop loss on Tien. Was pop the subjugate for healing. Cataclysm comes down. Flash out for Tien. But look at Baya. He can't get close enough. It's the unstoppable onslaught from Zhang that actually is able to claim that shutdown. Lot used there. The Weaver's ulti coming down for Xiaoxiao. Beautiful combination from Chris into the 3-man flick back. The curtain calls down. It's all lining up Weibo. And Light's going to cash in big. Picks himself up the double kill. Lands the next snare onto Zhang. He's going to flash after a trade. Breathe back out. But Zhang's heroics have been a big point for Ultra Prime. They're not going to be enough in the play-ins. A winning fight for Weibo, despite the heroics of Ultra Prime's top laner.
Yeah, look, I mean, we saw early on in that play, Ultra Prime was behind. They lost out in that top outer turret, and it just kind of felt like they were trying to throw things against the wall to hope that anything would stick. And they managed to find a kill on the Tien. I didn't think this was real in the first place. They burned so much just to get this Trundle down. As the subjugate, I mean, even through all that, he lives. It really was Jung that just connects. But with all that burdens onto the Trundle, we saw a Shockwave used off-screen solo onto a Rumble. I don't agree with that at all. I know it got Breathe out of there, but as long as he was able to TP back in, which he did, he gets to have an impactful fight, which he did. As he traded his own flash with Saber. And yes, he goes down to the end, but still, think of the rinse and repeats you can find now if you're Weibo, that you have an equalizer with everyone being down flash. So I feel like in the back half of that play, the fact that Dragon goes over to Weibo, Ultra Prime tried to do a lot there for very little, and they just fall further behind in the map.
That is no Drake that they're setting up around first with the cross map they're going to get. Instead, they give over Cloud Soul Point. And they're going to have to start giving away turrets as well. But maybe Ultra Prime has something else up their sleeve. A bit of a Joker out of the card deck, and it's Zhang again on another flank with ultimate available. There's the Cataclysm Shockwave combo onto Breathe, who's under turret, so there's no way to really fight back. Good pick there from Saber and Junhao to start things off. Another fight beginning with Weibo losing their member first, and Zhang wants to make it an even bigger issue. Ulting on top of Tien, gonna force Weaver's Wall from Xiaohu. Now Zhang is trapped on the wrong side of a big boundary, and he will fall after his flank TP, and we're back to a 4-on-4.
Yeah, I liked how Xiaohu played that. I mean, he was just waiting for anyone from Ultra Prime to overcommit for that Weaver's Wall to come out. Sion oversteps by a hair. He had no flash, no ult. He goes down, and now Saber's the next play. Also no flash, and Saber is dead.
Okay, so you trade out mid laner for support there, but I do think that kind of stalls out any Otacon game.
I mean, Saber can TP back. I don't know if Crisp has the Spellbook TP available, but I'd say it's still Weibo coming out on top of the play. The fact that you got Saber on the back half, I'd trade my support any day of the week to take down an enemy mid laner.
Just a simple equation there, Gubby. Yeah, gotta take it.
I did say I was better at math and literacy earlier. You know?
That's true. That's true. I do want to point out, though, we can talk endlessly about the goal, the spot they're in, but for Weibo, as we referred to this composition as being really snowball dependent, the fact now that 70% of your kills are on Xiaohu and Light, knowing that Light is going this Youmuu's build, already has the rapid fire cannon done, a lot of facilitation and now damage from these two picks. They're really set up to try and create more than kill off for Weibo.
Yeah, they're ahead, and I don't mind the fact they're playing this Otacon a little bit slower, because I think throwing Otacon is like the worst thing you could do as Weibo's composition. Talking a lot about how, hey, they might get outscaled this game. I mean, Sion scaling is real, Ori scaling is real, Fork can do good DPS. As Zhang's throwing himself in there. Going for Breathe again.
Alcove again, he eats a Shockwave. He layers the Equalizer really well, though, and look how quickly Junhao and Zhang are burning. Breathe is staying alive. He'll finally fall, but the route is on here for Weibo. Saber trapped in the curtain call, getting stunned up by Chris. The 4-shot doesn't land, but the flick back does from Xiaohu. Another good look from Ultra Prime onto Breathe, but there just is not enough gold behind this Ultra Prime economy.
Did they see our pre-show? Like, were they offended the fact that we ran Breathe clips? So you've just seen them tunnel on this Rumble now, 2 fights in a row. The first fight was okay, but that one, not good at all. The Equalizer melted the front line. Good flick by Xiaohu yet again, who has been on point with the Talia this game. And yeah, that's Otacon. I feel like that was the one big comeback mechanic still up for Ultra Prime. They get the slingshot of XP back. That's good for this comp, but I don't really get what the focus was for this fight. Like, they saw Jin mid. That was the only sign of them to go. Breathe buys so much time, drops a beautiful Equalizer that neither Junhao or Zhang get out of thanks to a good flick by Xiaohu too. And they eat an entire duration in the Equalizer. And the Equalizer completely melts the two frontliners Ultra Prime.
And Cubby, what this fight also showed me that maybe we didn't get to touch on too much in draft that I want to give praise to Weibo for. That play, I like that play from Zhang and Junhao, but the problem that this Corki, Oriana, Nico comp has behind
Range?
Range. This has been a couple times where Ultra Prime have gone for these good looks. Junhao's gone for these good looks, but you could just, when have we ever seen Baya in a comfortable position to bring the damage behind those picks?
It's tough. Definitely, the Jin, while he doesn't have the DPS, definitely exacerbates the range issue that is facing Ultra Prime.
And it's with allies now too.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a big Talia. That's a Void Staff as well. I'm more worried about that than Rylai's.
good for the Scion.
Yeah.
Take that, double AP.
Yeah. Xiao has done a very nice job this game of amassing resources. I know we did say that Saber, we saw him lose his flash twice in that lane phase thanks to appearances by Tien, but it's meant that Xiao has been able to keep up in lane, and then we know what Talia can do outside of lane. She has good conditions as well. It's been a really nice game by Xiaohu. And I don't see a way that Ultra Prime can get back into this one. 15 seconds away from this Dragon spawning Slayer. And a lot of ground to be made up here by Up.
A lot of ground in the vision game, to be specific right now, but another Weaver's Wall is going to section off the company as Chris goes for another great Magnustorm flash. They're going to drop the Cataclysm onto Light, but again, how do the damage dealers get close enough? Good flash away from Light on the Unstoppable Onslaught for Zhang as he's trying to carry that brunt, but there's just nothing the tanks can do to deal with Tien when he has Subjugate popped. The Curtain Call just out for the slows, but Weibo have no reason to chase. They've already protected their carries, and they've got a Cloud Soul to finish off over here on the Drake Pit.
Yeah, another fight that was taken really on Weibo's terms that doesn't look very close. As this Dragon Soul will be cleaned up as Saber TP'd out just to get the first brick of the game in terms of Ultra Prime and an objective bounty. It's been all Weibo, Slayer. We were a little bit concerned in draft about giving away the Trundle plus Talia. And it really feels like the Trundle plus Talia warped the game in a way that Ultra Prime could not deal with.
It's just going to be another fight, Cubby, where, yes, this one's a little bit murkier because they get cut off, but you look onto Light. Again, Junhao and Zhang, the two players we feel like are Nirvana plus on this roster, trying to make things happen, but you need everyone to be able to contribute.
Just to cancel that Q channel, really nice too, and we can ignore the bad equalizer by Breathe. Hopefully it means that the next equalizer is better.
Yeah, I mean, he got, what, you said he got 100% value out of the one before that, so, oh, Baya. Oh, Baya. I don't know why we're face-checking any brush on this.
I don't know why Tien didn't just go to melt him. He could have traded up there. He could have traded the flash for flash or something, as that Corki was almost in the doomsday scenario.
It's kind of like if anyone watched college football this week, you just have a bunch of really good teams playing some really bad teams, and sometimes when you're up 50 points, Cubby, and you round that outside and you see there's a big gap ahead, you could run for a touchdown or you could run the clock out like you're supposed to. Maybe Tien letting Baya walk away there was just kind of a cordial knowing of the lead that Weibo are controlling right now.
Yeah, Weibo doing their best to not start their season like Alabama did,
Or Notre Dame.
No. Yeah.
All right, Chris, you get jumped on. It's, again, Junhao that tries to start these plays, but it's so hard for them to really walk up because what's the range? Weaver's Wall? What's the range? Curtain Call. Both just make it impossible to get Saber or Baya into any of these looks.
Yeah, deficit's still too big for Ultra Prime to overcome. I mean, that TP top from Saber did not even net them the outer turret bounty that we were teasing. That is true poverty over there for Ultra Prime.
So, Cubby, we're only one game in, right? But I want to do this periodically as the series goes on.
Okay.
Where are you at on the Weibo in form for playoffs? Like take me up, kind of like as like a meter's filling up. how are we feeling so far through what we feel like is going to be a commanding game one?
What's a 10? Like, we're winning LPL or we're winning Worlds? Like, what's the scale here?
Okay, I'm not going to go winning Worlds. I'd say let's put 10 is you think they can contend. Oh, hold on. We'll have to have that conversation in a second because another Deadly Flourish lands into another flick back. It feels like Saohu just hasn't missed any of these this game. He might have another opportunity if Baya doesn't flash over another well-placed pillar there from Tien. That is Jungler down for Ultra Prime. That means Purple Worm is on the menu for Weibo.
If a 10 is we are going to be in LPL finals,
yes,
I'd give them a 6. Like, it hasn't been a bad look. I just don't think they're ever going to get a draft like this again.
Okay. All right.
This draft was free.
All right,
See what Chris can do. Dueling angles.
Your homework is to name that bar as we go through this dragon fight. Southside gets a double stun, trying to interrupt the dragon, the Baron take, but Tien still gets it, and my lord, there's just so much damage, it's hard to even calculate what's going on in that Drake pit. It's a Baron onto 5 here for Weibo, and with the kills they've gotten, they might as well just march up mid lane valiantly and just take down this game 1 now.
Yeah, you don't want to play for Elder Dragon spawn. You'd like to play before that Elder Dragon comes up, and Weibo have played a beautiful game so far.
No back for Baya.
What was a lack of answers for Ultra Prime is Baya looks like he's going down to the Bayou.
Oh,
Tries to take Tien down south with him, but I don't think Tien has a trip for Bourbon Street booked anytime soon. He's got some business to take care of still. As Weibo going to make sure that the Corki falls. And yeah, this train just keeps on rolling.
A lot of gold to spend, Weibo on their back. Should be getting to some stupid items.
Maybe they just wanted to make Team WE look worse. You know, maybe that was it. Maybe they just really secretly hated them.
Maybe Weibo got the call from some of the higher-ups in Group Ascend and were like, listen, guys, we don't know what the hell happened to start this play-in stage, but you better show what group you came from.
We need social media impressions up. The owners need you to play better so that our platform can make it.
So we have more games to cover on our own platform. Sounds the next casualty of the brigade from Weibo just gets crit shot by light out of existence. One final 2-2 turret standing.
If we see a level 16 Trundle go 1v1 against a level 9 Nico again, I need you to cast that like it is the World Championships. And that game is going to be decided by who wins that fight.
I mean, that cast you're asking for is going to last 3 seconds, but yeah, I'll give it to you, Cubby. But
we need the intensity condensed.
You need me to just immediately jump to a 10 for that kind of fight. Unfortunately, Matt, we're not going to get that because here comes the final march forward. Saber is cut off by Weaver's Wall and a curtain call. It's again the range that really shines here for Weibo because the rest of the front line healing off a redemption. They've got Subjugate going. They don't even care about Fountain at this point. They just want to hit whoever is in front of them, demolish Ultra Prime, whoever stands in their way. And through one game, Weibo has looked decisive. Through one game, Weibo has looked like a team that could threaten in the LPL playoffs.
Yeah, you know what, Weibo? If I wanted the band Oriana either after watching that game. Wow. One-sided game there for Weibo. As Xiaohu, I think probably the Pog. I thought Crisp had a great game too, but from start to finish, Weibo were in control. And that was decisive in their favor as they take down Ultra Prime for game 1 of this best of 5 to decide who makes that playoff double elimination bracket.
All right, let's start some cope here, Cubby. I want to start a little bit of cope.
Purple still looks good. We got to start there.
Oh, you know what's funny? I had this fun conversation. I had a fun conversation about what colors are just kind of automatic when it comes to looking good in esports or a jersey setting, right? One of the ones that made it was royal purple. I rarely am upset with royal purple uniforms of any kind. Yeah,
it's hard. Fortunately for Ultra Prime, they did not look quite as good as the TCU Horned Frogs with the purple out there. It's, you know, not as royal as we'd hoped from Ultra Prime.
No, not as royal. A solid purple it would be nonetheless. The copium that I wanted to start presenting for Ultra Prime here is, I think we can judge their gameplay with a grain of salt because they draft diff themselves. So
Yeah, a
How
little
much
bit.
can you really chalk up the loss if it was already lost before you got on the Rift?
Yeah. I really hated that draft from Ultra Prime. Like, I mean, seriously, like let's take inventory of this, Slayer. What happens if you sign up for Rumble versus Gwen? Well, the next time you pick Sion, it's probably really nasty. You pick Sion with Trundle up. Talia was up. We didn't contest that at all. I don't know why. The answer we had in Talia with the Orianna, Saber looked invisible that game. Things just didn't go Ultra Prime's way. And look, it looks like they were outclassed. And this is a matchup where on paper,
They are.
I think that they are outclassed by Weibo. But Weibo, they've had struggles. They've not played to the class we're used to seeing Weibo play to. So if there's any hope for Ultra Prime, you know, you're going to have to look there, try and find it. But it didn't feel like any of that hope could be found in that game one. That was a game one where they really looked like they were outclassed. And despite some of the struggles we have seen from Weibo in this group Ascension, those didn't emerge in game one against a weaker opponent.
And what reflects that best? Yeah, that gold graph tops off at
Dude,
about
Tien
17K.
did a lot of damage.
Yeah,
Tien did a lot more damage champs than I thought, man. That Trundle was been doing sneaky damage in this game.
I wonder how much of a breathes damage is just off equalizers, because I think we're going to see in the replays. He gets a lot of really clutch equalizers. There's not much that really stands out here. Again, it's just kind of reflecting
that game was over
overall
from level one, man. I'm beyond. Like, it looked, that gold graph, it's the most opposite of an LPL gold graph that we have. That did not fit the emote that we're creating over here.
It did not
at all.
You know what I thought you think might have though fit what we were crafting in the pre-show, and you get a little taste of this in the highlights. I do like some of the angles that Zhang and Junhao were kind of able to find in this game. It's just, you know, like Jarvan and Sion can only do so much.
It's just that this game was over, man. This.
Yes.
I really don't know what they could do in this. Like, they look at what they just threw in the Trundle and look at the health that Tien has left, man. They had to throw 4 ults to that guy. That's not good. Yeah, I mean, look, Crisp and Xiaohu really on point. We had to give that to them, right? Really, really good game from them with Weibo, and we'll see who picks up the pog between them. But I mean, look, for Ultra Prime, you can look at that game and be like, hey, the Jarvan died level 1. Might have been over since that, or Sabers couldn't get a lead mid. Felt like other lanes just couldn't get going. Can write it off like that. And another way, I mean, I didn't see the game plan of the draft, and I didn't see the game plan of the grouping either. Like, their answer for this fight on our screen is, hey, we need to attack Rumble again. How'd that pan out that time? Well, they ate a full duration equalizer with the two of them, right? And we saw the lack of range. I mean, they have tools to close the gap. Did we ever really see like a shockwave follow up a pop blossom or a cataclysm? No, they weren't able to sync things together. And part of that was them being too far behind. Part of them was that, like, them being disjointed and making poor decisions that did put them behind early on. So yeah, we need to see a better Ultra Prime in the next game. We're going to start to talk about the series a little bit more seriously, quite frankly, Sawyer.
And while, you know, Zhang has played a good Sion, like many LPL top laners have done this split, I want to see Ultra Prime return to what was most successful for them. And that's Zhang on a carry. That's Junhao playing something that can enable him to kind of play out through top lane. So I hope that, you know, the Gwen that you mentioned that gets left up here, we're expecting Ultra Prime to take blue side. If that gets through the ban phase, we want it on Zhang. If we see an Ambessa get through, we want it on Zhang. We want to see him play a carry champion, because that is where Ultra Prime looked most primed for success.
He can Cassante too.
Cassante, yeah.
His Cassante is quite good. I definitely trust him on that one as well. The other one, honestly, get Saber on a melee champion. I feel like looking back to the tape, that Orianna was pretty invisible, and we have had Saber like have legitimately pop off games on stuff like Akali, like Yasuo. So if I don't see him on a melee champ, I'm gonna be kind of disappointed in this series too, because I feel like he can really make things happen for his team in that category. But let's give it to Xiaohu, call it a day, and get to our game 2 here, Slayer.
Xiaohu, as much as we talk about Weibo, what players we need to see step up, bottom lane needs to gel some more, Breathe needs to get back to form. If this team wants to seriously shock and awe the LPL fandom, it's going to be Xiaohu playing games like that on his Talia.
It was a great game.
That player of the game. Great game, great start for Weibo, as we've seen some serious stock put into Cubby's contention meters we talked a bit about here. Something to contend with, something I want you all to contend with at home is maybe the question, how does the LPL English broadcast seemingly run so many days and with so many awesome faces? I would like to thank the main reason for that, and that is our coffee supporters. So if you would like to support the LPL English broadcast, consider becoming a coffee member. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project, since a vast majority of your contributions will go directly to the show. A lot of the additional payments go into upgrading the broadcast, but a huge bulk of it pays on-air talent and content creators. Subscribe to our coffee. It is linked in the chat below to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for our unique on-site interviews. We adore all of our amazing coffee supporters that have come in the year of 2025.
It's September 1st. I made my invoice today, and thanks to you guys, got paid a little bit more. So thank you so much to everyone supporting us at home, whether it's likes, comments, subs, anything. It all matters, whether you're a coffee top tier subscriber or just, deciding to drop a follow or a like and support the stream. So thank you so much for everyone for tuning in and supporting us, the LPL English unofficial broadcast. Of course, it's been fun to be a part of this project for the whole year. So here, we got a break to get to and more gameplay to bring to you guys.
Yeah, so all you, no matter if you're a coffee supporter or not, stick with us, because on the other side, we'll be heading into our second draft of the night between Weibo and Ultra Prime.
Hey everyone, I'm Sajed, ADC for Dark Zero in the NACL, and I'm here to break down this FPX backdoor and our prodiff deep dive. Baron is spawning in 1 minute, and that's the objective to play for, and the next mid wave coming out of base kind of dictates which team will get set up. FPX kind of has a cheat code because they took the enemy inhibitor, so they have the super minions, which will help them push the wave faster and makes their wave tankier. And Silas, he's down 7k gold. He kind of knows he's pretty useless, so he opts to not even show on the side wave and just goes and overgroups on mid wave. On the flip side, IG has rookie TP to the top lane, and then he shifts down to mid. So that's the two big advantages FPX has going into this fight. They have TP advantage on their mid laner, and they took the enemy inhibitor. So the fight starts really well for IG. They burn a bunch of the enemy sums and ults, but the problem is, since they contested from top river, they never actually got the wave. Instantly they start running to the wave. They take the fight away from the TP-less Victor, who's the most fed member in the game, and they just walk the wave down. They know that the game went long enough that winning a 5v5 is not the only way to win the game. They want to play around their advantages, and taking the fight away from the TP-less Victor and into the enemy nexus is their best bet. IG made the mistake of over chasing into the enemy vision, and they never actually caught the wave. So FPX is actually able to just hit the nexus turrets and threaten an end. Gala never recalled. He opted to just walk to his nexus. Maybe he thought it was faster, but he never actually gets the impact the fight, and FPX actually does get the backdoor off. So in the end, it's really important to know what your advantages are in a game and just playing around them. FPX did that very well from a losing situation, and actually
Welcome back, everyone, to the LPL English unofficial broadcast as we look to crown our first Group Ascend team coming out of play-in. Still feels a little weird coming off the tongue, Cubby, but nonetheless, that is the reality we're in. And if we learn anything from Game 1, we have a quick night ahead of us.
Potentially, we'll have to see if Ultra Prime can change that, because frankly, Game 1 looked like five of the boo-boo dolls were pouting stuff out there on the rift. So, yeah, it was kind of tough, but... That said,
I was not ready for that one. You've got some great tricks in your bag. That one caught me off guard.
Yeah, we got a game 2. We're gonna see if this draft's a little bit more playable for Ultra Prime, because game 1 was not very good.
And so, what way do you want to see that draft start out on the right foot? There are obvious champions that would be nice to get on B1, but what are you looking for to clear the very low bar that is a better draft than Game 1's for
you know, in 14 years of past League of Legends Slayer, we could take a look at the Game 1 draft, be like, oh, we could change it here, here, or here. But it's the year 15 League of Legends. We got Fearless Draft. We could throw that one out the window. I think that leaving up Talia for Weibo to take in the next rotation was a mistake, and we saw Weibo laughing about it. Level 1 went sideways for Ultra Prime, and that game was done pretty fast. So I think for this approach, I mean, we threw out some ideas, whether it's getting Saber on a melee, getting Zhong on one of the carries that he's been really good at for Ultra Prime in the past, or just having a more cohesive comp together would be nice.
That's a good start. That's a good start, right? Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to take the Wombo combo, like, let's try and find a Wombo combo. I think maybe a little bit more landing prowess or not drafting that many losing lanes against Weibo would help, because they really did have like 2 losing lanes early, and then Orianna versus Talia, and Orianna versus Talia got flipped instantly, and then it was bad. So that game was pretty grim. I'm not doing the best in building up excitement to talk about this, but Game 1 didn't really excite me from a cast perspective either, Slayer. So, you know, we got to be honest what's in front of us.
Right. Yeah, I listen, journalist first, honest reporting, that game was boring. Yeah, not gonna sell you guys short there. What I hope many of you are getting excited for, Ultra Prime fans, look away, is that for Weibo fans, if they can continue to put together 2 more games like they did to get their first victory, that's not just a 3-0. That is a pretty commanding 3-0 that will bring them into playoffs, where now if they can find a 5th, 6th place finish, you've now found yourself, Weibo fans, in a very similar spot, which is Xiaohu in a regional qualifier to go to Worlds. And Cubby, the track record is pretty darn good in those spots.
Yeah, you know, you just have to hope that you're an actual contender, which historically Weibo has been. Or is it time that you look more like, you know, the team you're describing seems like the media trying to hype up a, you know, Damian Lillard when Trailblazers team of old, but, you know, those usually don't make it too far.
No, they do not. Yeah, let's see if they can.
Would help if I could actually like cleanly get off the tongue what I'm trying to say, because then you might have to actually chuckle at it. But you know, it's fine. I had a pity chuckle. We'll move on from there, Slayer. Better execution in the future.
What? I don't pity chuckle at jokes. I find everything you say hilarious. What? All right.
Check your PayPal. Thank you. Appreciate the love.
All right. Let's get set here though for Game 2 draft. Is we should expect Ultra Prime on that blue side, which I think does lend credence to what Cubby, you know, is maybe looking to here for Ultra Prime, mainly for Zhong. I think if Weibo haven't done, you know, the best homework on this matchup, then you might see Gwen left up. You know, you might see Mbessa left up. Those are 2 champions that Zhong and Ultra Prime can contribute to a lot of their wins in Group Nirvana, and we'll be able to see if they can springboard that into a win against Weibo. But it's also, you know, getting guys like Baya on a comfortable AD carry. I thought he looked very invisible on the Corki. This guy likes to kind of play the scale game on Sivir in some of their wins. He's been able to flash the LPL Kaisa. We'll see if that's a bit of an edge that Ultra Prime will look for as we get set and into this Game 2 draft.
Blue side edge to start off here, as no Poppy for TN. Curious if we end up getting a setup here for an early Xin or Wukong. 2 pretty high priority junglers. Also did see Vi banned away in that last game by Weibo, who were on blue side. So gonna have to keep an eye out to see if Vi gets taken away again.
We'll start to see if Weibo or who Weibo look to punish. Right now, the draft is looking pretty standard. to what we've seen from them in this series and what you'd expect. You know, the Inara ban on red side makes some sense as Light hasn't really found the footing on League's latest champion. Here's where I'd like to see them throw a top lane ban, all right? I think you can live with Baya going Varus. You can, you know, maybe
I'd
live
ban
with Saber.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bessa or Gwen, whichever one, right? You want to, whichever one you see is the bigger of the two evils, right?
Okay, I mean, they took down Wukong. If you want to first pick Xin Zhao, I think that's fine. Weibo has some options of what to ban here. They could take away the Gwen themselves if they want. You're going to give that, though, with Ambessa up. That has been a matchup that Breathe has been okay to play. So, wondering what the plan is here for Weibo in terms of what they deny is. I'm looking at Vi Xin Zhao right now. If you want to keep the combo up or break it, you can.
Silence ban.
Okay, maybe they're looking for an early Alistar for Crisp.
Does take away a melee from Saber, so maybe not the spin we thought. It does leave Varus up, and Baya it's going to take the most reliable AD, so kind of a layup of a B1 pick for Ultra Prime given the bans.
I like Xin Zhao here. You can get out of poke Varus with your Crescent Guard, and you are very powerful in your own right.
Annie's in? Anyone? Any enjoyers?
Maybe. I will say Annie Zin is... I like Annie Wukong better. I just think that getting into the Trinity Force is so big, and Wukong damage is so significant. So if you want to go Annie, I mean, I'm almost tempted to, like, find a different pairing here. I think Annie Nocturne's actually pretty real if you want it, but we did call out that at least the Silas ban could lead to an earlier Alistar, and yeah, it looks like that's going to be the plan for Chris, because he's just going to 1-2 that bad boy. And we'll see what kind of response that Ultra Prime has. I mean, with Alistar showing this early, you have a real option to go Braum or Nada and actually show on-hit Varus, but it might be too early in the game to decide if it's on-hit Varus or not, and you don't really want to play on-hit into any Alistar, but they did give away that Xin Zhao at least look, as I saw Poppy and Wukong bans, and yeah, Xin Zhao looked like a champion that was pretty decent in this game. So that's going to be locked up here for Ultra Prime.
Well, we were asking for Saber to get on a melee. This is not necessarily what I was thinking, but hey, Galio, that's kind of a decent lane matchup, right? That is something you were looking for, Cubby. So Galio is a magic damage denier into the Annies in a good spot. We're gonna get the ever reliable and scaling bottom lane here from Light. It may be boring, but it could be efficient.
I like Weibo's draft again.
Breaking
They took
news.
Alistar with Sivir. So, like, you don't get to play Sivir or Alistar into Sivir, which is big too. And now the Braum or Nada that we talked about, like the two biggest supports that can help support non-hit Varus, which just became a lot more relevant because you are playing Galio and you are into Sivir. They can take away both the Renata and the Braum and be set up in a pretty decent scenario here. So I once again really like the approach that Weibo took the draft, and do not like how Ultra Prime tried to break it, because I feel like with the Galio now, they really need to go for on-hit Varus, and if I'm Weibo, I just want to find ways to try and play around that.
Cubby, I am getting deathly flashbacks to another game where we had very similar conversations like this, and about...
Oh, they're going to give the Braum, though.
Which way to go with Varus? Oh, yes. Okay, maybe... Hey!
Yeah, that surprises me a bit. I guess the Rakan with the Xin and the Galio, I mean, that is a really big snap engage and a couple melees you can piggyback off of. So they're going to give the Braum. I think Braum Varus is a pairing good. Of course, if you go Braum, your opponent's showing it's going to be on-hit Varus. You still have the option to just not run on-hit Varus and go poke. But I think with Galio, like, the opportunity to run on-hit Varus goes up a lot. And I just talk about it because we for sure have seen since the Lethality Varus build got nerfed, I think the Varus has been less effective. Like, that's very safe to say.
All right, this is a little bit of a conundrum. It's Gwen. I was gonna say Gwen survives through two ban phases, but do you want to pick Gwen into a Galio comp to do double AP again? No, they are gonna let the dog out for, I believe, Tien, and now maybe we will see the Gwen come back out. I don't know. This is a climactic conclusion to this draft, especially if Zhang is able to lock in that Ambessa we were looking for.
It's going to be Ambessa with Galio. Pretty confident about that, as Nefiri makes an appearance. Again, a decent carry pairing with Annie. So Annie's just going to use the CC to hopefully close the gap, and Nefiri can come in and clean things up. As there is a lot of engage showing. I will say that Braum into what's showing. If you pick Braum, I think you really want to go for the on-hit Varus, but I don't think it's the best pick into everything that's showing for Weibo. So I wouldn't mind the Bard here. I think that you are able to pressure the Alistar a little bit more in lane, and if you get Sivir Spell Shield off, can be very lethal later on.
Oh, this is going to be fun, though, on the top side. So Breathe is going to take advantage of the fact that Gwen survives 10 bans, gets through. He's going to R5 that. So Weibo, a little bit disrespectful with this draft, right? If you take away what this matchup is and how lopsided it is, and you just focus on the draft, this is going to be...
It's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage, but it's picking double AP, knowing there's a Galio.
Yeah, but like, Gwen shreds you later on. It doesn't matter. It's just, what matters is you're going to get CC'd. So, I mean, I don't think that Breathe's going to be the first target off the rip, but I do think that he's going to want to really try and ignore Saber in these fights, because if he gets knocked down, Weibo's a squishy team. Like, the only person that can really catch a Galio and is happy about it's Alistar. And I think that could be an issue for Weibo in this game. So I really want to look out for Crisp and Xiaohu. It's a squishy, high damage composition that Weibo has. Crisp needs to be on point and controlling that front line with Xiaohu to make sure that they can stymie some engages to buy some space. Whether it's Crisp catching or Xiaohu just dropping a stun and kind of stopping Ultra Prime in their tracks. The Death Ball could be very real for Ultra Prime. Xin Zhao, Galio, and Bessa, they can all piggyback each other in there. They're going to have Varus Galio supporting from the back line, whether it's on hit or poke Varus. Whereas I think Weibo have to be careful early on, because if they can get death pulled upon. So that's the one concern I'd have if I'm Weibo. But man, if this game goes late, so much damage in their draft. Just have to see if they have enough utility to support it.
So we head back to the familiar battle arena once more. Game 2 Gios. They may be one-sided, but bring them on in.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他们。
Yeah, still Weibo sided, even if there aren't as many big, crowd pops coming. Just nonetheless, still Weibo got their fans behind them. And the one thing I'm
not gonna flame the AI chart. We're not gonna flame it.
Okay, all right. Got to get that one out of the way.
We're just gonna ignore it.
What we talked about between, hold on, what sort of shenanigans are brewing down here?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone relax, okay? We have more important things to talk about. No more level 1 shenanigans. What I want to talk about, Cubby, fairly quickly, there's been a lot of differences in champion picks between games 1 and 2, between these two comps. What has been a mainstay is Tien, again on a snowball first jungler, this time maximizing it. The Nefiri has been a very interesting champion when it's come to pro play, from Split 2 into Split 3. It's a champion that, well, I know some of you at home would love to learn to pilot through your own solo queue games. And, well, if you want to learn how to carry Nefiri like we might see Tien do it in this game, got to shout out our sponsor, prodiff. Shout out Music, who can definitely teach you how to play a really nasty Nefiri. You can get his coaching on prodiff and learn from the best in the NACL, ERLs, and even the LTA. And make sure to show us some love. Use that code. Get yourself 10% off. LPL 10. Shout out to prodiff. Big sponsor here for Split 3 in LPL English. Salsa is definitely making sure this Bard is known by the Weibo bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, Crisp on that first wave, lost 3/4 of his HP. He burned both his pots. It's only the passive now that's going to be sustaining him. I thought Xiao's flash in was a little bit too early. He hit 2, but Baya didn't have it, so wasn't able to fully follow up there. But yeah, I am curious. Tien, of course, you did highlight the Nefiri. It's quite the scaler, as you really want to get to that 2-item point on Nefiri. And he is going for an early invade now into Junhao. Does have the support of his laners to pull this one off.
That's what you need if you want to look for these invade angles. Tien going after Junhao. Here comes the pack. And they've got a call to make. The call is Gromp should be Tien's, as the Wind Becomes Lightning is going to whiff there from Junhao. So only way he gets back over is a ward that he doesn't have, and he will have to secede his camps.
They do have supports. Did come up here. So going to be the blue buff being taken by Xin Zhao as Bard and Alistar both showed on the side of the map. And Tian going to work towards his bot side camps, not before chunking Saber out. So Saber's going to have to TP. Breathe did not match the TP of Zhong, but will now as he got chunked out. Should have a little bit of a better base, though, which is the idea of why he stuck around. So we'll see if he can get better items in this matchup. She does. But now with the TP coming in, going to be vulnerable to Junhao, who is coming with Bard, and we'll see if Breathes up to it. His wave's in a really tough spot.
This is what we want to see from Ultra Prime, though. Play towards Zhong, get this Ambessa ahead as they go for the 3-on-1. Breathes going to flash, though, and dash himself back to safety. But safety is only an idea, a construct in his mind, as he will drop for first blood. But the bigger question, what the hell happened bot side?
Tian went in, and it looks like it's a 1-for-1 trade. Baya TP'd back. They took him down. That wave's shoving against the Varus, so they do set the Varus behind, but at least Baya was able to trade back kills. I'm sure we're going to get a replay here soon. Oh, look at that, right on time. Okay. How was this managed by Weibo? Okay, that's done cleanly. Chris might have been able to tank one more. Yeah, I think he could have tanked one more. It's a maybe, though. Again, it was pretty low. Didn't have like a extra pots. I don't know if he had a biscuit available during that dive.
Even then, you would have rather he drops than Tian.
Yeah, also true. Also true. So
a little sloppy, but they do get the gold onto Light, who is a part of that big scaling threat, and something we'll revisit as this game goes on. Really, both Breathe and Light is. If this game gets a little bit murky, but it lasts long enough, if you get Breathe on those 3 items, get the Death Cap completed for the Gwen, you get Light onto the IEs, usually the 3rd item for Sivir, that's when those champions start to take over games.
Yeah, we'll say off of that, the swap is kind of botched here by Ultra Prime. So Weibo, while we were in the replay, they initiated the swap. It's now just being answered by Ultra Prime on both lanes. So a lot of free time, actually, from both Light and Breathe in the side lanes to kind of catch back up, just based on the swap. And Ultra Prime completely sacked both side waves to actually get the right lane matchup they wanted, which is the Varus and Bard. Into the Sivir Alistar, they will punish this matchup early on in the game. Kind of hard, though, that the Varus has already been set behind, because when Sivir gets ahead, she just starts to delete waves, and that's her way to kind of cheat her way out of some bad matchups with the control she has over the wave. This is definitely one of them, as she can catch a lot of the waves that Varus pushes with the free prio that he gets mid, just being lethality Varus. Sivir kind of free scales off that, and if you're ahead early, you get more AD to try and delete them. So we'll see if Light can kind of cheat his way out of this matchup that is kind of tough in the 2v2.
And it's another way that Light, as you kind of called out earlier in Game 1, can play those facilitator champions well for his squads. Sivir with those elite waves gives you a lot of prio, like we just saw the prio on the Drake go down here for Weibo. Tian does secure it, and Ultra Prime are a little bit too slow to punish them on the way out. So first drag going to be picked up there for Weibo, but I'm glad you highlighted the power of the Sivir being ahead for Light will be, because we talked so much about how he can be so successful in those facilitation champions, and that's how Sivir can play as a facilitator. Hold on, Chris engaged. Gonna knock up Saber, but you don't want to go after the Galio. He'll invite you in with the taunt, and Aaron Flash goes from Crisp. He gives the kill over to Junhao. They're going after Tian as well. Going to go into the Unstoppable form and make sure Junhao does not get that knock-up. But no real turn here for Weibo. Just a bit of an errand engage there from Crisp. Oh, Chains Corruption, cleanse. All right, good cleanse check there. Passed by Light.
Yeah, was a little surprised that Weibo signed up for that fight. It went the way I thought it would have went if they did take a fight, which is an Osh Prime win. Galio at 6 is so scary, especially with not a lot of items in the game. I mean, his base damage is so high. His value is just really good at that time. So, was a little surprised that Chris decided to go in. And I will say the Grub fight, I think, is very good for Ultra Prime. This is a comp, given that they went poke Varus, they will run out of damage later on. There's no way they get to keep up with the DPS of Weibo. So they're going to have to make sure that their fights are bursty, pokey, or they get picks. But at level 6, I mean, I'm talking later on. I think right now, you throw an Ambessa public execution with a grand entrance over the top, and I like the fight that Ultra Prime can find. So I want to see Weibo kind of play cautiously around the grubs, or even consider sacking it for farm elsewhere. Because a level 6 fight where Ultra Prime has 6s everywhere, I think it's a very scary fight for Weibo.
We'll have to see if that manifests, because Ultra Prime for now are trying to set up shop towards the mid side, but the top side is bleeding towards them. Junhao gonna have to pop the crescent guard, but low range means that everyone can just get right on top of Junhao. Hero's Entrance hits onto 2, so they're gonna be able to trade Chris back out, but Tien on the wrong side of the fight. That is a way Aaron Timbers coming out from Xiaohu. Isn't gonna stun anybody up, but luckily Timbers is just gonna play the space game, keeping everyone else away from Tien, who does knock down Xiaoza. Baya and Saber looking for a way back in, but a great dash over the wall from Tien to make sure no knock-up lands. Xiaohu, though, is going to get taunted and shot down by Baya. Tien looking to weave his way back over towards this Varus, but Saber is looking to play Protector. Good unstoppable form, but Tien just can't really close this gap down. And Saber and Baya are going to limp out with blinking health bars.
I mean, look, they signed up for that fight. They did take down Junhao first, but the rest of the fight was kind of played, I guess, down numbers for Ultra Prime, given the fact that Junhao went down so early, and they still kind of come out on top. So it will be the grubs afterwards, as TPs are cast to get back on the map. Going to be at least 2 grubs secured here by Ultra Prime. And yeah, I mean, this is fired on the Xin. Like, they get the burst down onto him, but after this... And keep in mind, it's a 3v4, and the champion's Ultra Prime is still pretty strong right now. Chris gets one shot. Xiaohu has an oopsie. That's not the same on-point effect that we saw from the Talia in the last game, for sure.
Luckily, he's going to get tons of reps going forward with that. Dude, good snipe there from Baya to find that, clip that chain disruption.
I mean, if he hits Baya with the ult, that could have been a fight changer. Honestly, like, maybe Baya's not able to actually step up and look for the R into Annie like he did later on. So, bit of an oopsie from Xiaohu as he comes up short with the Tibbers there, but still Weibo. Their comp scales really hard. And I don't know if the 3 grubs are going to be enough for Ultra Prime to try and start the snowball to prevent that. Saber does have a bit of a lead right now, so we'll see if he can throw his weight around into the double magic damage solo laners. They try and keep on making plays on the Galio, but... when you're playing Galio, I mean, it's all about the early to mid game, what you can do. Because later on, you don't have the damage to keep up, and Zhong not going to be able to keep up here on the side lane. He's going down.
Breathe TPing in just made it so easy. He'll be picked off there, and there's some
he would have gotten 1v1 anyway. Just about what can you trade.
Hold on, though. Here comes a 4v2. That Timbers lands there for Xiao, who's trying to get away from his turret as Chris is going to provide some cushion with the knockups, and he's actually going to catch the guy taking the turret, but the aggro drops alongside the general for Weibo. Good response there from Ultra Prime on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're kind of signing up for this. I'm still happier if I'm Weibo. Xiaohu has TP to actually pick up that wave, and while that's going on, I mean, it's Sivir and Gwen getting plates.
Oh, wow,
and free waves, so I think in the end, Weibo's still kind of happy coming out of the back of that one. I mean, keep in mind, they need to get items for these damage dealers to make sure that they cannot lose these later fights, because there's a lot of damage coming from the Gwen, the Fury, and the Sivir. Just going to be about Annie and Alistar holding the line as here we go.
Oh, that's a lot more than peekaboo. That is a very loud horn sounding from that rush. Junhao, Crescent Guard's going to buy him the space. They should be able to knock down this dragon, but Tien is smelling something sweet here. Maybe it's a steal on Tote. He'll walk his way up towards the pit, try to smite and drive away. He won't get it. Tempered Fate, though, is actually only going to clip Saber. But Execution going to go wide. It's actually going to find Chris, but that is not the target that Zhong wanted. Hero's Interest going to come out. No knockups found. Saber trying to create space. His light is getting heralded by Junhao. Not going to land through the flash as they try to send the Ambessa wayward. Breathe now having to flash out. And finally, the fight lines will restore themselves back to normal.
Can't fight
yet. A lot more hurt coming down here. Remember, Chris does not have his ultimate up on this Alistar, so he's a lot less tanky. Saber, though, not going to land the Hero's Punch. He's going to get a 3-man taunt down, though, and there is exactly the fire starter that Ultra Prime needed, as Baya and Saber will clean up the fight. No kills found for Weibo, only Ultra Prime here.
Look, that wasn't even a clean fight for Ultra Prime, but the fact we're fighting at this point of the game still means that Ultra Prime finds the win. Because the Ambessa Galio combo doesn't connect. It wasn't a big connection to start the fight off. It's just that Weibo cannot fight at this point of the game with the comp they've drafted.
Just disrespecting.
Yeah, also Crisp isn't 6. So, I mean, again, look at this fight from the Ultra Prime perspective. They are the stronger comp right now. Do they execute this? They find Alistar in the back half? No. They're too split. Like, this engage is too deep. They can't play a cohesive team fight. The positives are that Junhao does force out Light, and then this reset from Weibo, like you said, the battle line's kind of naturally reset here. Yeah, I mean, Weibo's just not strong enough. They don't have the items, they don't have the levels, they don't have the damage yet. So Ultra Prime, they have the utility gap, they have the tankier champions, they get to keep on kind of throwing themselves in here, and yeah, they set up for a pretty good fight for Baya to rotate out a lot of those spells. Is now Xiaohu.
Ooh, really
Gotta
clutch
drop the
double
Tibbers
stun.
to get out of there, yeah.
Like to see the pace Ultra Prime are playing at, though. Recognizing
need it.
exactly what we were talking about, Cubby. Yeah, they cannot afford to slow down in any aspect. And while they are up ahead right now, you know, potentially sniffing feats of strength if they can get this first turret down with the grubs, needs to keep the ball rolling, need to build larger leads, and maybe try and set yourself up when Otacon comes around in about 5 minutes to be in a really decisive spot. Because I feel like that is what will really decide whether Ultra Prime are just going to run this game over, or Weibo are going to have more time to play for those items.
Look at this. Saber of Justice. Yes, Galio is technically a melee champion.
It counts.
It does. Maybe we should see what his win rate is playing supports versus actual mids, but you know, that's fine.
It's called Justice Punch, not Justice Bow and Arrow.
True.
All right.
And he's
I don't know
punching his way to 4-0-2. We'll see if he can keep it up. He's surviving
What
this
is happening?
dive pretty well. He's buying a lot of time.
Oh, the double stun from Salsa. Chris finally has ultimate unlocked and immediately can use it. He's going to actually cleanse and change corruption and turn it on its head. Baya
That's a one-way
going to
trip.
get stunned up, but look at the tempered fate on the backside. Salsa makes sure nobody else can come through this passageway. And Chris will pay for the sins of his team's really intriguing dive.
I mean, they just waited for the Unbreakable Will to phase out, and then they put the cow out to pasture, man. That was... They just kind of like let him run around, tire himself out, do his own thing. They couldn't pull out the dive, but then afterwards it was just doomed.
So how doomed is this game looking for Weibo?
And they just need time. Like, they aren't
How much time
respecting
are you
their
giving
own
them
strength.
right now?
I mean, if this game goes to 40 minutes, they win. I don't care what the gold graph looks like, frankly.
True.
Look, this game, again, Annie and Alistar, that's the only CC utility they have. Everything else is damage. That damage is not online yet. Weibo's looking for the fights in these windows where they don't have the damage. They're playing these like multiple rotation spell fights where it really is just Ultra Prime that are stronger now. Like, Weibo, for me, have kind of signed up to their own demise, and we're seeing some of the mistakes that we're used to seeing from Weibo, and what we've seen out of Group Ascension, kind of come to fruition in this game against Ultra Prime, which is like not respecting the comp they've drafted, the windows and timers that they have. I think that's issues that Weibo have really had a lot this year, especially this split. And yeah, I don't think they respected what their own draft wants to do in this game, Slayer. Like, I would have never fought that second dragon with this draft on paper, and we did see, even despite a not a very clean fight from Ultra Prime, they still were able to win that one out pretty easily against Weibo, just because that's not a timer that their comp wants to fight.
Comp diff. So knowing all that, though, Cubby, looking forward to these next couple of minutes, what can Weibo afford to give away, right? You know, next dragon, sure, but Otacon's in about 3 minutes, and
Yeah, don't give away everything but Otacon.
Okay.
Screw this dragon. I mean, if I'm Weibo, I'd much rather have Gwen or Sivir on that top side to make sure I'm funneling resources into like one of those damage dealers, but I guess we'll take what we can get right now, as Xiaohu's up there. We'll see if he even burns a TP to try and contest this. They do have vision over the objective, but I don't think this is a fight they want. As, yeah, they're going to give it, and Weibo's in full catch mode right now.
trying to lean into the power of light disintegrating these mid waves, and like you called out, just catching up on waves. Like to get Xiaohu in a better spot, Breathe coming online, so it's going to be the real it's going to be the race, right? It's the race versus Ultra Prime busting open this game, whether that be Otacon, maybe a big fight win, get some turrets down, and just watching the inventories of Weibo members, because like Cubby's pointed out, 1.5 items on Sivir and Gwen and the Fury. That is not going to cut it at this for what Weibo need to do at this point in the game. So just keep an eye on those items, see what ends up coming through here. but the clock is ticking. Of minute 45. We already got to start thinking about Otacon setups, and we're hoping that Ultra sells out towards that side of the map.
Yeah, and look, if I'm Weibo around Otacon too, like, you don't want to give that one for free, but we have seen Otacon, especially this past weekend, be botched by a lot of teams around the globe.
Side landing looking a bit botched here for Zhang, but you know what solves all ailments? A giant statue man flying down from the sky to save you. More accurate Galio right there.
Weibo did lose both ultimates on their solo laners here, so that means they can't defend the turret as Tempered Fate comes in. Chris gonna have to pop that ultimate to run out.
Oh, Chris. How many times will you send this guy out to pasture? Oh, wait, maybe he's getting a forever home the way he flashed out of that engage. Chris survives this time, but Herald's in the pocket of Ultra Prime, and they're looking to cash in a tier 2 turret. Get the crash in.
Just give me a crash, yeah.
Yeah, just a crash. But hey, you know what's bigger here, Cubby? Complete control of this bottom jungle with Otacon less than a minute away.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, the biggest win is the fact that Breathe and Xiaohu have just been splitting this lane too, off that play that Weibo attempted. So I know that the response from Ultra Prime cost them their own ultimates, but they still went out in the back half as Shelly was dropped and gets a good chunk into the inner. And as you called out, Otacon set up. It's around the bot lane and Ultra Prime as they clean up this wave. We start the stronger comp on paper right now. We'll see if they can get Saber to base again. He does have TP, and I assume he's going to have a Rift Maker for the next time he goes back. So I'd like to be as strong as possible with this Otacon fight, then try to fight a clean one. Because giving away Otacon to Weibo's comp is going to be quite dangerous. That XP bomb that it drops, so whatever team that picks it up and gets all the flowers is... That's a concern. It's a hell of a comeback mechanic if you do not play Otacon cleanly. And it's tough between the resistance shred. I mean, we've seen a lot of chaotic Otacons around the world. This objective is yet to be nerfed, you know?
Nerf further, right? Oh, okay. Nerf the Annie there, getting the flash out of Xiaohu is Chris is again just the bull with a bull's eye on the back of him. Taking up a lot of the damage here. Chris is not going to survive long enough because he once again loses his Alistar ultimate and eats a piercing arrow. Chris going to go down, and Ultra Prime can take the Octagon, and an uncomfortable conversation must be started here for Weibo. Can we really invest into this darkness, 4 versus 5, to shut down this take?
Oh, they saw Mbessa. They did see the Mbessa.
Oh, but they didn't see Junhao engaging on top of Xiaohu. The knockup lands on the Galio, and there's no way for Annie to play this game out. There's no way for Breathe to ever get in with this Gwen, but my god, the bouncing blades were light, along with Otacon, and the pack Saber goes down to Otacon. MVP to Otacon for Weibo.
All right, well, Ultra Prime, I mean, they have good damage with the poke of Varus, but the matching of the DPS for the Gwen Sivir, we saw the AoE and the damage they can do with only 2 items in the inventory for each. They lose Otacon off that.
I need a slow-mo replay because I'm kind of dumbfounded to see what...
It was so good until it wasn't.
But what does all this back... I know Otacon drops resistances, but I'm really curious what did all this extra AoE damage.
It was ricochets. It was ricochets, and it was a Q3 and a needlework from Breathe. Well, let's look at it again. I mean, this is good. Xiaohu is level 11, no flash. This is a freebie. As they take him down, and then look at this. It's just going to be the bouncing blades from the Sivir, the needlework from the Gwen. That's 2 big ones. The third one even bigger. That's pretty big from Breathe. That, and of course, those bouncing blades hitting everyone from Light. And again, the Otacon now picking that up. Look at Xiaohu. Look at his XP. He was level 11 there. He's halfway to 13 now. As Weibo have the XP advantage across the board, given the Otacon secure. They took this dragon, which means they've evened up the Drake score. They're only down 1k gold. And given where the comps are at, I mean, I'm happier being them right now. I'd rather be in Weibo's shoes just after that Otacon take, and that's it. Because look at my Sivir. Like, this Sivir is going to be so big from here. Serpent's Fang already on the Defiri. I mean, Tien is huge. He's been kind of having a quiet game, but he's at 3 items. He's scaled. Gwen's at 2 items. She's scaled. I think I'm kind of fine now if I'm Weibo. Yes, you have a, you know, it's a little bit less CC, less utility, less setup in your composition, but I don't care about that when I have a Sivir and Gwen late game. I'm shredding people. especially a melee heavy comp like this. And I think their game state, just after that Otacon and one misstep from Ultra Prime, is relatively fine.
Oh, how the turntables. That is... That's what is screaming out to me from your eloquent breakdown there, Cubby. You kind of stole the thunder from your 80 carry play-by-play. Yeah, guys, this Sivir, we're a couple hundred gold away from IE, and those bouncing blades actually finding kills onto that melee-based composition from Ultra Prime. And thank God it came in the final hour, because Weibo were really struggling, like you mentioned. The Otacon just such a saving grace. And the fact that Xiaohu, yes, it's been a rough game for the Annie, not needing to be a huge damage source is going to provide a lot of value, that he can just be a stun bot as this game goes on. Chris is going to take another chunk, but he's able to hold on to his ultimate and his summoners, so
yeah,
not going to mean a lot. And
that's progress, baby. He did it all.
There's nothing down here, too, for Ultra Prime to really be defending, but Dan needs to be careful where he's recalling. Good thing he's using Unstoppable to get some space.
Ooh, that was a good play, actually, by Junhao. They got Unbreakable Will, Sivir's ult as well. Tien and Crisp have to go back, so that should be the bot inner turret falling. Breathe has to drop the needlework now to defend. And that will be enough to cut the wave and make sure that they cannot take the turret. So Weibo, it was a couple other camps, so they pretty much just reset the map from here. And they actually might be able to threaten mid-outer now, as that tempo burned and lost here by Ultra Prime.
So how do these fights look winning going forward here for Ultra Prime? You talk so much about how the scaling has come through.
I'd say
fight approach
shots.
can overcome this. That's what I want.
Yeah, like public execution one shot in the back line, if they are able to get a big grand entrance for the Galio, which they have a lot of setup for it. That or picks from the Bard. I mean, you can always get funky when you have Bard in the game. Maybe you can find numbers advantages for yourself. A lot of ways to make fast plays. As they're going to look here.
Tien's been on point with channeling that.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
light.
big, though.
There we go.
Wait.
Xiaosa's getting funky.
He
Bringing
missed the
Duff Funk
cue.
with those ultimates like Daft Punk. But yeah, the music's over here for Xiaosa.
They did get Light's Flash, so that's a big cooldown.
Flash
But
clouds.
Xiaoxia missed the frame perfect Q, I think. You can do on Bard if you hit the ult. So good find on Light. I mean, they took a big summoner spell away from him before this upcoming soul point. You have for each Drake, because yeah, we're gonna get a replay here. It was spell shield used on the public execution, and then the chain came down after. I don't even think that tempered fate was that
you
good.
didn't need it.
He did not need it. It delayed the damage, if anything. I think they could have killed him if that doesn't come down.
It's definitely a bang play, right? Like
No, I think they kill him
don't
to
know.
come down. Yeah.
But you don't know if the chains are going to land, and you just kind of want to throw. I could see how you could just kind of commit all these ults just to hopefully hold Light's place.
If he threw it at the turret and not the enemy player, would have been better. You know, could have continued the dive.
That's a good point, though. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Just the small little like group Nirvana-esque mishaps that
Hey, man.
really
Not
well,
everyone. Not everyone can be Busio. All right. It just is what it is. Not everyone's the Bard God. It's fine.
But those little mishaps is what, again, in the play-in stage hurt you the most. And in Group Nirvana, it was like, oh, yeah, sure, better luck next time, champ. No, there is no next time. So Ultra Prime, who have played this game out much better than the series started, really need to hone in and commit to these one-shots that Cubby, like
I think
you
they need
mentioned,
this
you
Drake.
feel like.
If they don't get this Drake, I think that's just game. I mean, if they get this, they can at least threaten the Hextech Soul and close the scaling gap. If not, though, you're buying 5 minutes for Sivir, Gwen. We know what these champs can do, so I think this is important for up. And they have full control so far, Slayer.
Like, though, Infinity Edge has been completed. 3 items on Tien as well. It's the darkness that molds the game plan for Ultra Prime right now. And yep,
think you
Weibo
give. Yeah.
going to take the much more patient approach. They're going to give Hextech Soul Point over to their counterparts.
I think this is the right call. I just don't see a way that you find like a losing scenario in 5 minutes here if you're Weibo. And you just get 5 more minutes of items in your inventory, and I'd rather sign up to flip that fight than flip this one where I just don't think it's necessary for him. So, Weibo going to be happy to drop that and play the map okay and continue to scale on up. Breathe. I mean, by the next fight, you got to believe that Annie's going to have access to stasis too. You're going to have a completed Zanya's on Breathe if he wants to, if he has to use the Seekers at all. He's going to have that by the next fight. You're going to actually have a support item available for Crisp, who is just... I mean, this is C-grade meat that we have on our screen right now. We're 28 minutes in, and this brother doesn't even have a locket or redemption.
Weibo need to be careful, though, with how much space they're giving around this Baron pit. What shut down their dragon look was this very problem that this is a very deadly comp to walk into from Ultra Prime. You can eat a Bard Stun at any point. You can eat a Galio taunt, and Bessa comes flying out of the woodwork. So I like to see they're kind of grouping up and they're saying, all right, Ultra Prime, you don't get to turn the lights out, all right? You're not the power company. We're going to set some vision up and to make sure that you can't find any real shenanigans to ruin our scale party.
You could even see, I mean, just this poke from Tien now. He's able to kind of fish around with the Fury at 3 items. There's a lot of ability haze to keep on fishing. That's a nice. Oh, wait, Chris. Okay.
All right, that's Alistair ult out.
Still, I mean, Tien is pretty much solo on the front line now. Finding poke though, and between being able to go invulnerable and then do these flips, he's gonna be okay. As Crisp, importantly, was able to finish his support item, the first item that he has completed in his inventory, before the 30-minute mark, Slayer. So he's feeling good. We'll see if Breathe can feel good now. He's got no turrets.
No more Chris conversations because Breathe is being suffocated right now. But it's Tien that's able to cover for Zhang. He's the ball execution. There's that stasis coming down. The hero's entrance is going to land the knock, but the Tempered Fate locks everybody golden. The taunts come across, and Zhang is able to come out on top. But here's Light showing up to the fight. Pops the on the hunt, and look at this disgusting Sivir damage from Light. Just like that, he finds himself 3 kills, and he's hungry for more. Saber has to flash away from Chris just to make sure there's no angle to chase down Baya. But Tien with the pack looking... won't find it with his low HP bar. It's Light to the rescue as, again, Weibo looking a bit sloppy in these fights.
Look, I think finding a fight where it's Ambassa and Galio away from the Sivir is fine. You can make side lane plays with this, but we saw Ultra Prime kind of overextend again. Once they use those ults and those gap-closing tools, you're going to get mowed down. I mean, that's before the Sivir even comes in, but they kind of run out of steam in the back half. I think it's actually quite good that Tien catches this. It got DPS away from Breathe, so Breathe's able to make sure that he gets all 3 casts that they need to work off. I don't know if he gets that down if Zhang doesn't TP into the backline there. As we have Galio not quite able to sync up. It was a hit there on the Tien, on the stun from Xiaoxia, but that flash makes it a one-way trip. And Tien's able to get out, and then, of course, Light melted everyone in the back half, but we didn't really see Ultra Prime, again, fully connect on this opener, and things continue to slow down.
No dive. We're just going to get rid of the turret. Hey, now it's just a fight, and Saber is gone. The Tempered Fate's a little bit too late. Not going to land for Chris as well onto Zhang. The 2-pointed spear forward for Ultra Prime's early game win have now been taken down right in front of the Baron pit. And Ultra Prime beginning to really split apart at the seams as the scale-heavy threat weighs on them.
Yeah, I mean, now as Weibo, it's just, can we kill this before Dragon's available? They're going to hit it. You can see Junhao's basing right now, so this is going to be Baron given in a race to get to the Hextech Soul. I will say, I mean, if you're Ultra Prime, you'll give Baron for Hextech Soul. You will. You're still down control on the map. I think that you have time with the Baron to get a base off a shop and then reset with the Hextech portals to get here in time, which Weibo will do, and I don't know if Ultra Prime can secure this, and if not, you are officially outscaled. You are now down in gold. You have lost your advantage in this game, and I don't know if they play their way back into this one.
They're not able to be the first to the race for this Dragon, but it feels like Ultra Prime need to go for something. This comp is not designed to sit back and let the game come to them. They've got a Galio, they've got a dive threat, and they've got a Bard. So they need to find creative angles, but they're making the tough call to give Hextech Soul, and Like you pointed out, Cubby, they might have just given away game 2 with it.
I mean, look, like, from the last Dragon to this one, Sivir built an LDR and got a BF sword. Like, that's such a big difference. And I do want to credit Weibo for dropping that Soul Point Dragon, like dropping that 5th Drake in the game. I think that was the right call for them with their comp. Because, again, I know they've gotten Baron and a little bit of extra gold out of the Map Slayer, but look at what a buzzsaw it is now to walk through the Sivir, the Gwen at this point of the game. It got so much worse for Ultra Prime in that time. Weibo knew what they drafted, and despite some of their earlier errors, maybe taking fights a little bit too early in this game before they were strong, they made the right call later on to get the comp to where it is now, which is going to be really tough for Ultra Prime to beat.
Siege beginning here with the Baron powered up and just trying to maybe get Light in position. You layer those bouncing blades with the minion wave. Can really start to show how much damage this Sivir does, but Weibo are being a bit sloppy with this setup. You can see the top wave is completely out of sorts, and Xiao Hu has to swing around to catch the mid wave a bit late, so they can't really get that 4-1 in prime position. So for the time being, I don't think Weibo can force this first inhibitor turret down just yet.
Yep, just going to take the inner as Tien, the extra puppers. And you can see him fishing with those Darkened Daggers now. I mean, if he hits on both with the puppers helping clean him up now, that's Junhao quite low. So I do really like Tien's build this game. I think Serpent's Fang was a good call just to help deal with that little extra mileage that might be the shielding.
On top of the fact that the GA also, you talked about how makeshift the front line is, you can play a little bit more like a front line, the Fury, knowing that you'll be able to res back up. There's one of those quirky tempered fates that we were looking for with Xiaosha. It's
that's turret
not
dead.
going to make its mark, so
that's
there's the turret
now
down.
too.
Inhib dead. Right behind it, 2 inhibs dead down for Weibo.
Yeah.
If
If
you're
you're not,
spend more gold.
I actually would not have minded if Ultra Prime kind of looked for a fight or a skirmish there, because Baron's up. If you're able to stall out that turret take, then maybe you can get them to base and reset when their Baron despawns, which did happen on this wave. But no, they give, and, well, when you aren't going to fight under the turret, then why fight under the inhibitor? So, 2 inhibs gone, and again, Ultra Prime, I mean, things just getting worse and worse for them as this game continues, Slayer. We haven't even really talked about the Ambessa scaling. It just doesn't matter into the face of the Gwen, the Fury, and the Sivir, especially. As Light has that GA now, so if you want to win, you got to play through 7 lives that are showing for Weibo, and that's quite tough.
And I want to revisit something you brought up earlier when I asked, how do Ultra Prime fights work now with the scaling starting to come online? You said one-shots. You can look at some of these last completed items that just make that impossible, right? We've got Stasis on Gwen, we've got GA on a Fury and Sivir. So this one-shot really can't ever really come around. As they look for an engage there onto Light, but he's able to flash, cleanse himself back out of safety, and now the front to back can look. It's actually going to be a flash from Saber to land a taunt, and they are going to be able to burn down Light. Stasis' galore come out, but Light survives. The damage cannot get close enough despite how low these health bars are. The GAs, like we talked about, coming up, so there's no one-shot threat from Ultra Prime. It's just another untargetable flash dash as Tien once again dances with death and wins.
Tien's GA was burned. That's the only life taken off of Weibo as they wipe the fight. And the scaling comp for Weibo, it worked out. They made a couple of poor decisions to fight early with some good play from Ultra Prime, but Weibo, they dug deep. And they made this game, I think, look pretty one-sided in the end, frankly.
They learned to respect their opponents and respect the comp they've drafted, but when it was their time to shine, there was no one brighter in the late game stage than Weibo, who are 1 game away from another playoff berth.
And I gotta say, for Weibo, like, I think that I could, as a Weibo fan, maybe build or take a little bit of confidence away from that game. Yeah, I know the Ultra Prime's the worst opponent, guys. But at least for Weibo, I do think that at times they struggled to identify what their comp does or is supposed to do. And we saw that in this game. I thought that some of the earlier fights they took, especially around, what was it, the 3rd or 4th dragon that spawned, that was off. Like, they lost that, and there was no way they were going to win that fight, just given where their champs were at. I think after that, they made a lot of good decisions in this game to buy themselves some time, get to the point where their comp did scale and did look invincible, and then clean the game up from there. So, I know it's against a worse opponent, but for me, I actually saw a couple positives from Weibo out of that game, and how they played from behind against Ultra Prime.
So I want to go back to that scale that we haven't really found a name yet for, Cubby. We might not find a name, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The 10 being contending for LPL finals.
Still at a 6.
You're still at a 6?
Yeah, it did not change from that game. I think
change.
the early game, in a way, like they fixed some of the issues that happened later on, like for themselves. But yeah, that was it.
Okay, so no movement. Is there some movement on the bottom lane conversations that we had? We were asking a lot of Crisp and Light, who have been majorly off across all of the Rumble stage, I would say. I do think this is going to end up being a Light MVP. So are you any more inspired about Light and Crisp in this game? I feel like Crisp had a really good game 1, and now Light had a pretty stellar game 2.
I know Light plays a good Sivir. Crisp was a bit of a griefer in the middle of that one, but hey.
Yeah.
He was solo front on his Alistar, and Weibo wanted to fight, and they couldn't yet. So I think Crisp kind of, whether it was his calls or the team calls, he fell behind in that one. I don't know if I can take confidence like for Light and Crisp in this. Again, I don't think they did anything that was particularly too special. So I know that we're looking for this bot lane to really step up if Weibo wants to make a run. I just don't know if we can really judge them against this bot lane, because we talked about the top side of Ultra Prime being what we felt like was a better than where they were placed in Group Nirvana top side. Like Zhang had a good split. Junhao was a pretty decent jungler. I thought we saw them make some okay plays in this game. We didn't talk about the bot lane, though, of Ultra Prime, because that bot lane was kind of the reason they were the 4th seed in Group Nirvana in middle of the pack, right? They struggled. Like, Baya's not a fantastic support. Xiaoxia is the support that was found for Ultra Prime, as they kind of had a rotating door down there throughout the year. Light and Crisp, I expect fully to be better than these guys, and I think we've seen that so far. I need to see out of Light and Crisp just more consistency. And again, Crisp did struggle that game just because Weibo took some fights early that they probably weren't ready to take yet. And Ultra Prime definitely punished them.
Maybe it's my love of marksman players as one myself, but I do think Light has done very well with what's been asked to do of him across these 2 games. Sivir's never a champion where there's anything flashy about her, right? She's very mundane in the sense that if you're playing Sivir correctly, early to mid game, you're rarely on screen because you're just deleting waves as the camera pans away and you're waiting for those items to come across. And while you mentioned Weibo got a bit, quirky with disrespecting fight timers with their comp, Light was never really caught. Light was, maybe had to burn some summoners early. Maybe should have died if a Tempered Fate looks a bit different. But he ends up going deathless. He ends up buying time, getting to his 3rd item quicker than I would say we anticipated, seeing how the game state was, and running over their opponents. So I think Light deserves a lot of credit, even if it was kind of an easy job to accomplish with the champion he drafted. He did it quicker than his boss expected, being me.
That's somewhat true. I do think that this fight gave a lot of opportunity to Light and Breathe to, hop back into the game, as they really made the most out of that little skirmish around Otacon. And again, Otacon, I mean, I think Otacon's so incredibly strong as an objective, guys. Like, how many games have we seen just decided by Otacon, whether it's you starting it at the wrong time and the resistance melt being a factor, or a team taking Otacon, using the bonus stats and especially the bonus XP that they get to get back into the game and stabilize things from there. That's quite big, as we have been talking through the 2 replays that really shaped this game. As we saw, the Otacon was the first, and then this one, I just would say not the best take from Ultra Prime in the end. I know the Tempered Fate layering was a little bit weird. We didn't really talk about that one. Definitely was a little bit funky there in that as well, but yeah, just Ultra Prime couldn't quite get this quick comp across the finish line with the Death Ball, and now they're staring down the expected position that we had for them coming into the game at 2-0, as Weibo is up and looking to take care of business in the 3rd game.
For as much as we talk about Zhang and Junhao with Ultra Prime, I do think this was a very good Galio game from Saber, even in that last fight.
Yeah, Saber was not the problem this game.
No, and even in like those impossible fight scenarios of the end game, right? I think he did a good job threatening Light. You got him to flash, you got him to cleanse, you get him down to nearly pop his GA, basically as just the Galio. There's not much more you could ask for from him on that pick, and I hope they just lean fully into his melee nature, try and get him maybe an Akali game. Silas, if there's a good angle for Silas, something like that. Because Saber, he rarely is invisible in games when he's able to get a melee champion in his hands.
Yeah. Look, I do think that Saber, if Ultra Prime is going to go down, I would like to see him go down with the Akali or Yasuo in his pockets. As we'll see if he gets the melee in the last game. But Tian with the Pog. Producer Adam was right. He had it over us. The Nefiri was pretty on point for the majority of the game as Tian. That poke from the Darkened Daggers later on was pretty significant, and I thought Tian played a lot of those fights well. So the Nefiri, usually not a champ we see in game 2, but hey, was a found pairing with the Annie here and paid off for Weibo.
Paid off indeed. They invested in the scale index on the League of Legends stock market and cashed in big to a game 2 win. And Weibo now find themselves just one final match on Summer's Rift away from another playoff berth. We'll go to an intermission on the other side, see if Ultra Prime can get a little bit funky, get a little bit creative, find some way to get some juice back into their series, or if we've got a sweep on our hands. All that and more coming at you in a couple of minutes. Thank you for joining us back here on the LPL English Twitch channel, the unofficial broadcast of the LPL, and it has officially been a pretty dominating start to our potentially first Group Ascend team out of the play-ins. It still feels weird saying that, Cubby. Can we talk about that for a second?
I mean, Weibo's making it look like, you know, the way that the other Group Ascend teams wish that it would have looked like for them. As it's been a pretty solid 2-0 so far from Weibo Gaming, and a split that has been a lot of solid wins for them. We haven't had a lot of reason to get too excited or antsy here up here at the Desks layer. Been pretty simple so far.
Yeah, we had our spots. We, you know, good mid-game spiking comp from Ultra Prime. You know, we got excited around an Otacon that they could have really broke the game open with.
They got too excited around the Otacon. They went too deep.
Yeah, they
should have walked in.
They were just so kill focused in that one, and well, it ended up killing all their momentum. Cubby, so you were teasing it a little bit before we got on the break between these two games. Are you just hoping to see Ultra Prime have fun with this draft? Is that where we're at?
I mean, we were talking about Saber being out of melee. I would like to see them give themselves maybe a bit more of a scaling option, because I don't think they're going to play nearly fast enough to beat Weibo.
That's true.
We've seen 2 games of them failing to play fast enough to beat Weibo. It's been tough. So I don't know. I definitely hope that they give themselves a little bit of a scaling option. So if anything, maybe a buy a Kaisa. You can find an angle for that. But
yeah.
We'll see what's in store for up.
Buy a Kaisa is available. I'm starting to think of mid laners. It's weird because we kind of want to see Saber have fun with some flashy melee picks, but a lot of those don't kind of lead to most of them.
You can have the melees. We'll take the insurance elsewhere,
okay.
you know? It's
all right,
fine.
We'll take the insurance elsewhere. All right,
yeah.
All right. I'm also curious what Zhang's champ pool looks like by this point, because I am unfortunately afraid that he might just be in a Cassante angle at this point, knowing what champions are gone.
Might be the Renekton Cassante handshake, because I know Breathe always happy to play the Renekton out of that.
I want to see Breathe lean into Yorick, though. I still think Breathe is a really good Yorick.
He's played more Cassante this split, Breathe has, and Renekton too. He's also been a Renekton enjoyer. We'll see. Might be the answer. He's also uniquely been really the only Jace player that we've had up top.
True.
Which has been definitely
a
a Weibo and a Breathe special. We've seen a lot of Jaces running out of damage. A little bit too fast in these games. It feels you got to go with the Thowdy Jace now with the changes they made. Thank God, because Tank Jace was just awful.
It was the worst.
Tank Jace was it was not good. Not good for the game.
Not good whatsoever. All right, Cubby, the $1 million question I want to give you before we get into this draft. If you give me one rarely seen pro play champion that you feel like we're going to see in this draft, knowing the stakes.
Oh, that we're gonna see?
Yeah, like or you want to see? Just give me a fun champ name.
Saber Yasuo. That's what I want to see.
Saber Yasuo. Okay.
Saber Yasuo is what I want to see. We're not gonna see it. I think a Saber Akali would suffice.
You're already middlemaning your own.
See, Weibo thought it would suffice too. They took it away.
All right, well that just all right. The Kiana also getting taken away. I know a lot of our jungle lovers here on the LPL English. You know, Rafa mainly was. I actually think Rafa told us to expect a Kiana jungle to come out this series.
Tien's been good at it. Yeah, he played it once. Tien was very good at it in his game. So up gonna take that away. I do think that jungle Kiana does have some real pros as well, as the true strongest jungler up in the Wukong taken off the board. We'll see if Junhao wants to go for that point-and-click lockdown in the Vi. With a lot of junglers off the board now, sometimes taking that cease and assist into Game 3 could actually just be a decent start, as at least you know you have a go button to attack the backline early on.
I wonder if Weibo might try and start flexing this Aurora around, because one, Xiaohu plays a pretty.
Ooh, on the other hand,
I'll just see myself.
I mean, Ultra Prime, they liked it so much they took it for themselves on the blue side. But you know what? The oopsie of that, Slayer, was that they did leave up the marksman that we have yet to see today. The one that Light has actually yet to play this split. And the hover for Weibo right now, it's going to be that Yunara.
Also known as latest stat check champion. That is what Yunara is, which I've seen some interesting conversations about, because some people are glad that Yunara is a simple AD coming out in a world of complicated ADs of late. You know, decently complex kits.
I like her. I do. I think she's actually well designed. Her R has a very clear power window.
Yes.
It is what it is. She needs some help. If you play within her range, she's
Definitely
strong.
does.
I think if anything, maybe I think she does have a lot of access to range in her kit for what her kit does. I think that, but that is like, if you take away 25 range, that's a lot of power away from an AD. We'll have to see where she falls and how they change up her numbers. I definitely agree she's strong right now, but I think kit-wise, good champ to have in the game. That said, that Vi that was being teased by Weibo, not going to be locked in. I think they know it's going to be the pick now for Junhao. Given they have a Yunara showing, definitely want a way to point and click and lock down that backline. So the Vi will be the answer for up, and yeah, that Kaisa for Baya. Quick to follow.
All right. This is a very bold Yunara pick. You are inviting this kind of response.
This is
so
where
now,
you Renekton and just go from here.
I'm trying to think of what Crisp can go to protect. Do you just take Braum here to maybe give Yunara some space? Rakan with a charm, these knockups, being able to slip in and out.
Nautilus is fine if you want to grab it here too, because you get bans to protect it, which is what they're thinking with this Rakan probably.
Yeah.
So
I just think peel first is the best idea, because no matter what the rest of this comp looks like, whenever you pick Yunara, you are banking on Yunara getting to 3 items and obliterating the game. That's what Yunara is right now.
well, with Rakan showing and no support for up, I assume more support bans will be coming from Weibo, and with a jungler showing and no jungler showing for Weibo, I expect more jungle bans from up, as that Nocturne ban was a smart one. Nautilus Leona taken away, 2 of the better matchups against Rel gone, and 2 of the better pairings for Kaisa too also gone. I think that's a big deal. Do we see a sneaky Blitzcrank here? It is actually a real question to ask here for up. Not good against Yunara, but definitely something that Kaisa could use to at least get that passive proc from a teammate out. As then, another jungle ban to follow here. Maybe a Skarner taken away, going to be Tien's Lee Sin. Given the rise is showing.
I don't think you can pick Skarner in this game. I don't think Skarner gets enough value. Oh, if Tien just wants to go full carry pants today, that would be fun. But let's see.
I think both are real options. That's
yes.
Technically a flex pick. This is a scary one. They're gonna give Breathe the counter pick, but you can take some point and click CC here to really mess with the Zed. If you are on the end of up. I am once again asking for Renekton stonks, as Renekton stonks have been going up this game.
Let's see if you can get on a roll predicting some of these picks, because I do think this Blitzcrank gets locked in.
It's really I think one of the only options.
Oh, or
Jean
steals
trying
the
to get
Renekton
CC.
away. All right,
as
Breathe.
Again, point and click for the Zed. That the W is good. Renekton's a decent blind. I think you are going to get Cassanta'd, but it's okay. At least you can win some early game.
Maokai with Kaisa.
This against Rakan, I like a lot, actually. I would like this a lot from Xiaoxia.
Okay.
It's not good in lane. It's weak, but you have Nature's Grasp. You get guaranteed knockdown for Zed. And into Rakan, you can cancel the Grand Entrance with your Bramble Smash if it's timed well. You can also time your Twisted Advance well to try and get out of a Grand Entrance if it's like casted towards a minion. Or just to dodge out on the damage yourself. It's a bit of a timing battle against the Rakan. We'll see if Xiaoxia can outplay it. As that Cassanta''s locked in to round things out. And Slayer, what do you got?
I wish this was Yorick.
It's bad against Croc, but yeah, I can see it for the game. Yeah.
Yeah, because at this point you're staring down all of these, direct counters to fights for Weibo. You're staring down Kaisa, Vi, Aurora. Like they all want to fight. They all want to look for picks. They all want to group up. You have a Ryze. You have a Yorick. If you can get grubs and you can play for side lane threat, not only does that take away a lot of this, blow up responsibility for Vulture Prime, it gives Tien more space, because if you can lean into picks off this Zed instead of team fighting Zed, it can really shut down Ultra Prime's comp. They're gonna get the Cassante. You can't hate that pick, but definitely a lot more power to Ultra Prime than I think we've seen all series long.
I think that if you're going to pick Zed, you should probably save it for his latest draft as possible. The fact they did not, or Renekton and Maokai to respond, it's a lot more CC in the game that Zed has to be concerned about. I would have rather just taken Renekton there and eaten the bad top lane matchup to see if I can get a better Zed game, or maybe like a better Kha'Zix game, as that was Tien's other hover, and Assassin's definitely good pairings with Ryze. But instead, they do get the Breathe Cassante going into that Renekton, so we'll see if he can slingshot his way back into this game and survive that early game matchup.
We'll see if we only have one final game on our hands here. Game 3,
来到英雄
Weibo
联盟
Ultra Prime.
敌军还有
Okay,
30秒到达战场。
couple of scattered Weibo Gyos as they've been all series long.
I mean, for up, it's your last chance to rip him is up. This
Yeah.
could be it. The last Gyos of the year.
And we at least, we can't confirm if we didn't get any because we're not there, but we didn't hear them. What I do want to present as a fun situation here for this game is, as much as we talked about how lopsided it is, Weibo favored against Ultra Prime. I'm glad that we've gotten a draft where we feel like Weibo does have a tougher time in some of their lanes because, again, Weibo should sweep. Weibo, if they want to be a playoff contender, should sweep convincingly. So now that we're not just saying, oh, they've draft gapped, Cubby, they should be able to win as a team and overcome some of these draft shortcomings.
Yeah, I think the solo lanes for Ultra Prime definitely going to have some priority early. So we'll see if Saber can do anything with that or if Junhao can take any camps away. Probably not going to be the case. As, okay, we got Tien's first career Zed game. Definitely going to want a full clear early on. The one winning lane for Weibo is going to be this bot lane early. As the Maokai into Rakan pick, definitely, it's not great for the lane phase. That's your best case scenario, is you dodge out on the Quill and try and land your Bramble Smash, and that's not easy to do, so. Ultra Prime going to be eating it down here, but again, solo lane should be okay, and that's why Junhao going to path his way towards those two solo laners, see if he can get anything done.
So wacky to talk about a winning lane being Yunara because she is not. She does have her thread that I think some people let fly under the radar, that once she stacks that Q, she can actually trade really effectively. But it's just another champion that, for the most part, you're looking to buy time on. So the fact that the Yunara lane can play pretty comfortably, like going to be another spot where he might just be pretty quiet in the early and mid game because he's making all the right choices, understanding the win con of his champion.
Yeah.
We will have to see.
I mean, this champ does scale hard, but you also get a pretty easy lane phase, especially if you go for the pull tech on Yunara. It gives you so much health back in lane, and you get to be Yunara and scale. As we do have Tien using some of the power of Zed to actually get that full clear off and base early Slayer. So we'll be back out on the map with a buy and a likely uncontested bot crab take.
Yep.
So he'll return to the rest of his camps. And of course, Junhao would go from bot to top. So with that early base from Tien, we'll be able to get back in time and should be able to secure that crab.
Such a weird game state for Tien to play out because Rise
Clears so fast, he resets, you know?
OP. Yeah, but that is the OP part. But looking at the wave states, right? Breeze getting shoved in, like Rise is going to need a lot of time. And if you're playing Zed, jungle, mid, you want to look for kills and play towards your assassin nature constantly. So I like to see that Tien is at least giving looks towards this bot side with his quicker timer. And I want to see Tien, once he gets his ultimate, like, throw this thing down, try and pick up kills, and get the ball rolling, because that's the only way Zed can function in a spot like this. Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely. As
an advance, it actually sends Xiaoso way further up than he actually wanted to. Leave the tempo stacked here for light as well, and Junhao going to draw himself the cover. No kill threat though, just some summoner heals traded per usual.
I do like the point about Zed, of course, getting snowballed, whether that's through camps or kills. Always good in the assassin jungle. Zed only as good as his items can take him pretty much. I mean, you're not picking Zed for the utility, right? You're taking Zed for the damage we can do in these fights. So, see if Tien's up to the task with that one. As we do have Saber TPing back, but that wave is going to be too big to hold. So, Xiaohu should be able to get his second base in and be A-okay.
Wonder if this is a spot for a swap to come out here for Weibo. If they want to get Cassante out of this Renekton matchup, I wouldn't hate sending your bottom lane top side. Breathe does have teleport if he wants.
If they keep the 2v2, I think they get Drake. And that's the choice right now, because Tien's actually skipping over those Krugs. Yeah, I think you just get Drake off the bot prio. So
okay.
Light with the base and the TP does go for the Cole and the recurve, or the dagger, I should say. So this tech, LS has talked about it a lot, but just given how Yunara's Q works, it applies on-hit effects with the cold passive. For every creep you hit, you get 3 health back. It's actually more effective for you to go for the dagger and the cold than it is to stack up other items. It's really good on Yunara, especially just given that she's a champ that wants to scale too. So Light's in a nice spot, going to be a happy camper for sure in this game.
It's been very well put in all of his lane phases so far in this game, and been able to be effective, whether that be facilitating on the Jhin later on in the series or scaling up into a monster on that Sivir. The latter, what he's going to want to do so here in this final game if Weibo can find the victory. Got the dragon up on that bot side, but Tien that's again
so far
looking to go for this bottom lane is, like you called out, Baya pretty far up here. Gonna pop the ghost first. He's gonna get around the red Interstocker pretty well, actually. Light takes a ton of damage. The healing, though, comes across. And Tien's gonna look to dash right on top of Baya. Good flash. The Shuriken's not gonna hit either. That's both summoners out of Baya for his missed position.
Yeah, I mean, Chris put that poorly, and it still is a win for Weibo, as Baya was way too far up. And we'll see. Decent for Jung.
Into the pushback, into the turret, the drag of the all-out. Love that combo coming across from Breathe. Is now Junhao's getting evaded on his own jungle. Realm Warp forward. Flash out of Junhao. Weibo, despite how slow progressing their comp is, still able to find windows to punish Ultra Prime.
Yeah, this is feeling like a 3-0, which, I mean, we did kind of expect coming into the day, Slayer, but maybe not to the dominance that Weibo has been able to show. I still don't think like it's been anything, though, that convinces us that Weibo is going to go further than what we have right now, Slayer. I don't think that Weibo's had to do anything too special to actually win out of this series. It just felt like a pretty abysmal Game 1 draft from Ultra Prime. Then Game 2, they didn't snowball it that hard. In this game, we don't have any blood going over, but definitely feels like Weibo have found some early wins on the map with their movements.
I would tend to agree. I think Game 1 had its inspiring performances from Xiaohu on the Talia. Crisp had a really good game. But those two in particular were kind of the reasons why Ultra Prime were able to control Game 2 as long as they were, right? And Xiaohu goes down 4 deaths very quickly, routinely sectioned off. Crisp as well on the Alistair, routinely punished. So it does kind of feel like you've seen the good and the bad from Weibo, even if they are likely going to come out here with a 3-0 or, you know, in reality, up 2-0 at this point. Tien, though, on the grubs.
We'll say, I mean, this is one. I don't think you want the fight. I think Tien's just going to try and steal or take what he can. If he gets 2 and he gets out, it's a heist for sure. But Zed Smites are OP. Yeah.
This Smite isn't up just yet. It's a couple seconds away. So Junhao finds a nice little timing to fly.
Yeah, they don't want to fight. Yeah, you definitely don't want to fight right now if you're Weibo, so it's going to be a give. Do want to pause real quick. We do have Light. Looks like with that Thunder, he's going to be rushing the Experimental Hexblade, which did see some very significant buffs on this patch. I think in particular for Yuntals, the move speed when you pop your ultimate, which really helps you get that, you know, transcendent state, keep that going as the Yunara to cash that in. I think that's the idea behind it. Usually you don't see this item first, but it is going to be rushed here by the looks of things by Light.
Just like, I like how much AD carry builds into Evolve with the Hexblade. Hold on, though. Top laners throwing down ultimates because junglers are also here as well. Tien trying to set up a little bit of space between him and his jungle opponent.
Another
Flash forward comes across from Breathe. There is the living death mark on top of Zhang. He says Dominus is going to pop. They don't get enough damage out of the Zed. It's okay, though, because Weibo's first here to the other play. All of a sudden, it's 4v2 just like that. And, well, their numbers are stronger than Ultra Prime's, and that's why they're 2-0 up in kills.
Yep, they get both. Sit down, Croc. You're now behind in this matchup as Breathe is going to pick up that kill with some help by Tien, who played out that skirmish on the Zed very nicely. Really like when you're able to drop the shadows and get poked down. Zed's so cooldown reliant when he goes for this ability haste-based build. Really relies on your Q2s, or the second Qs come down when your shadows are down. And yeah, this was not a very close fight or skirmish here, Slayer. As Breathe plays out a very good trade on K'Sante. Already had the flash out of Jung. And then this trade in the Junhao, again, he's up a level, but they don't want to pull the trigger on that Vi ult because Breathe was still sitting on that W, so the damage stopped and the unstoppable. And by not pulling the trigger and kind of splitting their targets, it just kind of allowed for Tien to have a beautiful fight. As the Zed got down so much ambient damage throughout, any angle for Ultra Prime to win that was just kind of taken away by Tien having two really effective shadow usages with Poke. Kind of shut down any hope for up there.
It's good to see, well, Crisp also set up that second pick play, but duality of Crisp right here. You'd think he gets picked off, but he's actually making it really hard for Ultra Prime to finally get that kill over to him. The problem is he served up the Vi right up in front of Light,
Yeah.
so the Yunara goes down as well.
It kind of helped enable Baya to get a better killer instinct into the backline, actually get onto Light too. So I think that's very fair, Slayer, and trying to create some space. Chris made a bit of an oopsie there. Gave Baya a pretty good find into the backline.
We've got Caster Cursing is evolving, Cubby. I didn't even say the point I wanted to make to praise Crisp. I just thought it, and he and he ruined it before I could even say the whole point.
1984 on broadcast?
On broadcast. They're in my head.
Oh, boy. Well, I don't like that. But
Or
I guess
it's
happy.
either 1984 or I'm getting Truman showed. I don't know. Should I start looking for cameras? What could be a
Maybe.
camera in today's world? I don't know. That's what scares me the most.
I mean, maybe it's a Labor Day thing, you know? I can't believe that Kelsey Moser has us working on Labor Day, Slayer. What is she trying to say about our work ethic for the split by this?
Wait, it's time and a half though, right? Or what are we saying?
Yeah. we get time and a half from the coffee subscribers, man. It's base.
Shout out our coffee supporters. We adore
Yeah,
you.
thanks for the time and a half today, guys. Appreciate it. Definitely don't support the coffee anymore today, because we definitely don't need your support more today than usual with the time and a half that we always get on holidays, as is tradition.
You know what's funny is, not to ruin the parade with the legalities, but pretty certain that time and a half holidays do not apply to freelance anything in the world.
Don't worry about it. China does not celebrate Labor Day. Well,
hey
in
guys,
America,
can you tell,
Adam, in America, we don't spell labor with
yeah,
you.
I was about to say.
Right?
I was going to say, can you tell a non-American just spelled Labor
to
Day?
leave you out of words when we kicked Britain's ass in 1776 and on. All right, screw the U.
Unless you're Notre Dame, then you can't do that. I thought that one would get more pull. All right, I've delved to how many?
I was locked in. I was locked in from the last rant, Slayer.
Oh, so you know, if there's anything to learn about Americans right now, is that whenever we have a chance to bring up 1776, there's no hesitation.
I mean, I still love the SNL skit of Washington's America, where Nate Bargatze says, you know, we will win the chance to have you in some words but not in others, like glamour.
Glamour.
Which, yeah, I said glamour. That skit's a brilliant skit. Anyway.
What's a brilliant next play here, though, for Weibo to try and
we should
try
probably
and
get back
control
into
this
this one.
game, right? Yeah, let's lock back in. We see the hex play completed. Maybe it's,
That's not
again,
good.
Tien looking for good picks here, as Baya is again the product of another death. I think Tien's been really, really poignant about targeting this Kaisa.
Tien's been on point, man. I think Tien's assassin play has always been something he's been a little bit slept on throughout his career. I always really associate Tien at his best when he's able to drop camps and help his laners. I know that when we were talking about the BLG jungle carousel, I actually thought pretty public about thinking Tien was the best fit for that team. And a lot of that is the fact that he will drop camps to make sure that his laners are set up for success and have the hovers, but see him play the carries, the assassins, and play well has been on point. Again, good Zed tech. Just hold your spells while, you know, Kaisa has R.
Double proxy. Let's go. This is the high-octane LPL League of Legends I wanted right here.
I like how you're completely focusing on something different, just seeing if Tien can maybe take down Jung here. Zed Renekton 1v1, definitely don't want that. If Renekton's on top of you, he will eat you for breakfast.
How about a mid laner trade of ultimates? Nope, Saber doesn't have enough here. Chris also going to hover pretty comfortably. All this action on the top side is going to pull away my lovely double proxy I was getting so excited about. There's not much more of but a kerfuffle to be had around this Herald. It will be secured by Junhao. We'll look for a bit of an engage, though. Don't think Tien or Breather either targets you ever want to be ulting, so
Yeah.
Ultra Prime just happy to get the Herald.
To return to your idea, Slayer, you know, what looks like a good fight now for Ultra Prime, I think one that is sooner than later. And when it comes to Weibo, they've done a pretty successful job at slowing this game down, whether it was them finding positive plays around like the grubs, I think before on that side of the river, right? The 2-for-1, still a positive for Weibo, is given the strength of their comp right now. They're up in gold, right? So I think Ultra Prime's kind of already running out of steam here.
Saber cannot flash away when
flash.
they've got flashes too.
Wow.
Tien is playing exactly into that assassin role right now, and he really has been all series long for Weibo.
I mean, him and Chris were pretty on point and locked in for that one, as the quickness and the death mark and the flashes came through pretty quickly to match Saber's flash, and the bunny cannot skip her way out of there. So going to be tower falling, going over to Weibo. That's first brick. That's feet secured. And also a 3K gold lead.
Two items on Tien. Yeah. He's got the Black Cleaver done too, so just
Big
get a bit
Zed.
of extra armor shred. This is, for all the credit you deserve, Cubby, for pointing out, point-and-click stuns are there to shut down the Zed. So far, Tien has done the best job utilizing the skirmish power of the Zed. Now, he hasn't had to deal with the Maokai yet. He hasn't had to deal with the Renekton, and he's been able to garner this lead.
I mean,
Ultra Prime
last time I saw Zed with the Vi and Renekton on my screen, the Vi and Renekton didn't use any of their buttons, and the Zed got to put down 2 spell rotations and get free kills, you know? That was kind of nice on the top side, but we'll see if those buttons can come down into the Zed later, because definitely potential to lock him up as Crisp.
Welcome to another episode of How Does My Support Get There? Unfortunately for Ultra Prime, the episode got cut short due to budget constraints. Oh my lord.
I saw Chris got locked down by 2 roots, and that did not matter. He was able to cruise his way on out of there. Shout out to being Rakan and being able to exist as Chris slinks his way on out. Light does have that Hexplate finish. We'll have to see where he goes from here. As usually, we have the Runan's Hurricane to follow. On the standard build has been Kraken, Runan's, and then you just kind of go from there, right?
Yeah, it usually get the IE done. You just want more damage, and then it's like LDR you're picking. I will say some
earlier,
I've seen a bit more Phantom Dancers starting to come out compared to Runan's. Get a little bit situational with that second item, so we'll see which one Light prefers.
That item gets a lot of stats.
I think Phantom Dancer would actually be better in this spot. Just, you know, a little bit extra movement speed as you layer those autos versus the...
I would like Hurricane. I think you're always going to be hitting more than one person. But we'll see. I don't know about the Hexplate. At the moment, do know that red buff is at least a look for Weibo. They still want to be careful about the fight they take. The pressure's not on them to do anything, and I mean, the next reset's going to be so good for them. We haven't really talked about Xiaohu in this game so far, but he's going to be sitting at that
ticking time bomb,
Evolve Seraphs in the next base. You got to believe he's got that one under his belt. So this dragon fight for Weibo, we do have another Cloud Soul that spawned. It can be a really big one for them. And this was my concern, too, for Ultra Prime. Like, why they have to get things rolling now. Look at where this Ryze is in this game. How are you ever going to be able to deal with this champion, given what you have on your screen? As Ultra Prime have really stalled out for naught, and Weibo just kind of allowed to do what they want in this game and on this map.
Junhao really embodying the guy sweating profusely in front of 2 buttons meme right now, because he's gonna have to hold Light or Xiaohu, because if he doesn't take care of one of them, the other one probably ruins the fight here. Tien is once again playing towards that pixel nature, going after Saber. Flight coming across from Crisp. These two have been dueling up to find a lot of these kills, but Xiaohu's going to spoil the party with that Nature's Grasp. Now look to re-engage Twisted Advance onto Crisp, who is very, very hard to lock down. Couple TPs come across here, but it's positioned first for Weibo, and you think, why is everyone chasing on this top side? Hold on, though. There's the engage into the Killer Instinct cross for Baya. Good heals come across Xiao, who's able to stay safe. Tien, though, into the backline. Gets caught by those point-and-click stuns. Shane goes down first, but Light has transcended, and he's looking to just run down Ultra Prime. Tien goes down, but it's not enough. Weibo are just in much better position, and they're going to start cashing in exponentially.
That look onto Xiaohu from Junhao was just not good enough. I mean, Chris being there, he was low, but he was able to land the counter engage. Stopped it in its track. They did get Tien just thanks to the point-and-click stun, but that was it. Everything burned into the Zed, and it's going to be everyone melting ahead. There's no ult for breathe. It doesn't matter.
He's got flash. This has just been rinse and repeat right now. Baya not able to farm comfortably on any of these mid waves. Good old Shelly wants it on the party, and she will nearly ruin the mid-tier 1 turret, but even that is on Weibo's side right now. He's going to look back at that Junhao engage you were just talking about, Cubby.
You have no Q. Chris just gets to instantly turn it, and look at everything that's burned by Ultra Prime just for nothing. Like, Xiaohu flashes out. That was Baya ult used, and they overextended so hard to actually just be able to get a flash out of Xiaohu, and that was it. It gives Light a completely free fight on the back half as he transcends with a Hexplate and shreds everyone. He's got a Runans completed now and an IE on the way as he is in a really good spot this game. And again, Weibo's comp, like Xiaohu has the double evolved scaling items now, and the Seraphs and the Roa are pretty much fully stacked up. Yeah, he's got both fully stacked. So I mean, what's your play? Where's your attempt? I feel like the windows and the timers for Ultra Prime, it ran out in this game. It's running out in this series. It's running out in this season for them. As this Otacon, it really is everything that Weibo, any play they want to make, they can do. They have the time and the lead to afford it. And Ultra Prime can't afford to give away anything else.
Xiaohu has Realm Warp, so I really like him getting mid-wave in control. But Otacon actually never resets. Ultra Prime are happy to gobble this one up. Crystal going to look for a snap engage after Saber. Does flash back out. Otacon secured by Ultra Prime as they drop between worlds. Chris very, very low. Weibo, how angry are they? They lost this Otacon. They're trying to wrap around the 4-stack as Light just beams down. But the Killer Instinct comes across, and they're able to find a trade back. Baya, how much damage can he get down? They find the kill onto Light. Xiaohu in the middle of everybody, though, is starting to just bash on his keyboard. Combos layering over and over and over again as they just cannot shut down Breathe in this all-out form. Health bar's too high, and Xiaohu has had more than enough time to cook himself up a winning fight here. Weibo's solo lanes trying to desperately chase down to get another slow, and Xiaohu, the general, pops up in the time for Weibo and saves their desperate Otacon play. Realm Warp going to split the two remaining members of Ultra Prime, and that ends it all.
Well, I mean, they took Otacon for themselves. Like, we can't really hate on Up for that. The fact they were able to get the objective, that was a good play to get in here. Actually, you called it, Slayer. They stole down to the Patience bar. Good reset, good take from Ultra Prime. I just think the retreat, even just thinking about walking up here is the mistake. I think that Aurora uses ult way too early. They could have walked out as a team. But they kind of just got stalled and stuck here, and I know that the ults come in. They are able to take down Light, but again, this was the concern about the scaling and how big the composition already was. Yeah, Tien didn't exactly connect in the combo, didn't exactly matter, wasn't his best fight, but Xiaohu and Breathe way too big. They were able to pretty much neutralize early on. Rise got big, and even with the Otacon being taken, it is Xiaohu that is ding 16. That's with Aurora too, so I have the bonus ability point. Almost already has a death cap on this Rise. Xiaohu is ginormous in this game. Frankly, has been kind of the player of the series for me so far, as he was really big in game 1 and 3. Okay, game 2 was a bit of a stinker, but he's making up for it on the Rise to Leah. As, this can't be enough. No way.
Redemption, he is 2 levels down. Oh, Seraph Shield and Junhao as
a teammate.
Nature's Grass, though, they weren't looking for it, and actually it's a bit of a disrespect from Xiao. That's 1,000 gold over to Baya. Tien gonna fall next here as he dashes towards Saber. This is starting to get a bit cautious here for Weibo. It's Light that has to try and rescue that transcendent form. Gets the kill onto Baya, and Breathe again is just way too burly to deal with. Running down with his big bad health bar.
I mean, even a good start there, right? They took down Xiaohu immediately. Tien falls. It still is a fight in favor of Weibo in the back half of it. Just given the lead, given what Light does when he enters the fight with this hex-plated, empowered, transcendent state. And it's enough to actually TP and fight for the Baron. So there is no smite available. As Tien's still in the gray screen, I gotta believe that Xiaohu is gonna Realm Warp Tien into this.
Oh, that's a good shot.
Okay, he's
That's
going to
exactly what I think we're gonna
insta-TP, and then Tien's going to walk. Breathes tanking with Light. They have it at half.
do. This is really audacious. You've let Breeze's health bar get really low.
They got it.
Light's down to about half HP.
It was free. Wow.
Could have been so much more illegal, but yeah, they
Wow.
are going to pick it up before Junhao can get here.
That was well
Nice little
done.
sneak from Weibo.
I thought they'd Realm Warp in there in order to ensure they got the kill off on that timer onto the Baron. They didn't even burn the Realm Warp. You can use it to defend the wave.
Oh.
Minions still clean up the 2 HP turret. But my god, that was a good play by Weibo. I think the rotations from them there actually really sound. Even with the turret falling. Now, Junhao knows that he's going to have to dig deep. If they want to find a winning fight, some miracle winning angle by any chance here. So there's a control ward down. And he's done his best to really sneak his way around Weibo. But that ward was spotted and it looks pretty fresh. So they should know that Junhao is at least in the vicinity.
Scrying Orb comes out for Light. He's trying to check some try brushes. And even though Junhao has evaded his captors, look at where the rest of his team is. They can't really cash this in. How long is Junhao going to commit to this flank? Because it is a very scary walk back, as you mentioned. This jungle is now as dark as it is for him, as it is for Weibo.
I mean, if he leaves, he gets spotted by the double control wards. So, I mean, it might be better for him to either hit B or at least get an AFK warning. Like, how committed are we to this?
Just had the Pink Panthers theme song playing in my
Oh,
head.
yeah, you don't have to explain that one to me. He
Just
snuck
for the
in between the
youngins.
waves, though. He's still not spotted.
Oh.
I mean, we're going
Keep
from
the theme
Pink,
song going.
It's going from Pink Panther to 007 status here if it works out. Let's be honest.
Bum, ba-da, ba-da-da. I'm trying to remember all these theme songs now that I can try to do. Yeah, I think I went for the wrong spy genre. But hello, Covert Agent, sleeper on the back line. There we go. They get Light again. Good flash though over Saber's damage, and the Arc of Ruin decimates Ultra Prime. The Flank of Dreams just falls flat for the moment. Hold on, they do get Light, but yeah, again, it's just the rest of Weibo are much stronger as a group, and they cut down the spy mission from Junhao.
Yep. Everything burned for Light. No Light, though, at the end of the tunnel for Ultra Prime as they lose 4 on their path to get 1. Only the support up, and Ultra Prime's year looks like it's coming to an end. As for Ultra Prime, I mean, the fact that they made it to the playing stage was, I'd say, a win for them. Hard to find a win today against Weibo. As this series, I think, in a way, Slayer, I know that we have a lot of chaos in the LPL, but this series went as we expected. It couldn't have gone more to expectation than what we expected, frankly. In a way.
There's more time to talk about here, Cubby.
Even the fact that this game doesn't end right now, just given that Weibo is on my screen, in a way, is still expected, even if that was unexpected as someone setting up for the end of the game.
I need Spark Notes on whatever Cubby just said. Does anyone have that?
I mean, Spark Notes would be more accurate than ChatGPT in that scenario, but everything burned here to pick up Light. The Transcendent slow. I mean, that's a beam there. That's almost hitting like a final spark from Lux. As Light, he does go down to the Croc in the end. Breathe couldn't get there in time to peel him off, but it still is a 4-for-1, and that's A-okay.
I think that I'm glad that you tried to bring us out on that Ultra Prime high note, right? This team has had a lot of roster swapping around, especially in the bot side. And for the first time in Split 3, the biggest split of the year, they can say,
yeah,
we did not end our season in the Rumble stage.
I thought Zhang showed up this split. I know it wasn't his series today, but I thought he really showed up. And like as a player, I'm actually excited to see in the LPL moving forward. Really hope that guy is either with Ultra Prime or finds maybe a seat on a better team. Was deserved from him at times.
Him and Junhao in this series, I think, did show some of that pizzazz that they brought to this team.
I wouldn't talk about anything. I mean, I know that Junhao is really digging deep to find a win. Uh-oh, he's spotted.
Okay, but at this point, he's just stalling.
Yeah, Vi from Arcane's trying to be like Echo from Arcane right now and hide in the underworld. Also known as the topside jungle of Weibo.
Zon is looking a lot cleaner than I remember it being.
That's Cloud Soul and Gentrification will do that to you, you know?
I guess so. What is this? Oh, okay, Junhao, he's just not about flanks anymore. He's just diving back to the same thing. It's Light again, but Where's my team, bro? Nobody follows him. He just dies. And so does Saber. And so does the season for Ultra Prime as the Realm Warp comes right on top of Baya's head. And he will be the only one to survive. Nope, not even him to tell the tale. Weibo were just waiting to do it with a nice little bow on top. Their first ace of the game as they will 3-0 Ultra Prime. And as weird as it sounds to say, folks, our third series of the play-ins finally gives us our first Group Ascend team out of the play-ins into the playoffs. It will be Weibo Gaming in 3-0 fashion.
Yeah, shout out to Weibo Gaming for making sure that we don't break the LPL unofficial English broadcast bank with our time-and-a-half rate for Labor Day.
Dang it!
Yeah, Weibo went to work on the Rift to make sure we didn't have to go to work too much up here in the caster booth in Ultra Prime. Last time we get to see that royal purple on stage. Always looks damn good in any esports arena, Slayer. Unfortunately, not as good for Ultra Prime today as they got baptized a bit by the Weebs. And we'll see more of the Weebs in the double elimination bracket.
Like we talked about towards the end of that Game 3, will be intriguing to follow Ultra Prime as they move into the new calendar year.
Yeah, I want to see more Zhong. I do.
Yeah.
I thought that Junhao, again, should be an LPL player moving forward.
I think he earned his... I hope that at the very minimum, Zhong and Junhao, if they want it, have earned their spots back on Ultra Prime in 2026. That is at the minimum that I hope. The ceiling, though, like you talked about for Zhong, I mean...
I like Zhong. I thought that Zhong was a decent top laner.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that today didn't go the way that he wanted to, but I don't think that he was incredibly outclassed by Breathe. In fact, I don't think that... Yeah, we can't individually talk about... So I'm going into a bad rabbit hole here. I don't know why I'm wasting time on this. It was a good split for Zhong, but hey.
It was a good
for Weibo, you know, we did kind of come in talking today, Slayer. Did we see enough good things out of Weibo to really hope that they can take that to the rest of group?
Where's the meter at? Where are we at now, right? We were at 6 out of 10. Do we move at all? Or
I don't know if it really changed in that one, just because Ultra Prime are clearly just not the same team that Weibo are, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't really feel like Weibo were ever super challenged in this series outside of maybe 1 or 2 bad Drake fights in the second game, and that was about it. And I don't think they could have really ever won those fights in the first place. So
right.
I don't know. I think if anything, we're happy that Xiaohu had a nice series. I think that's good for Weibo fans. And Light was solid. We were asking for the bot lane to step up. I think they'll need to if they want to make a run in this bracket. Again, I don't think they're up against the toughest bot lane today. So I don't know how much they stepped up. But we can be happy that Xiaohu and Weibo at least showed some good decision-making when they were behind in Game 2. That's a positive. And Xiaohu got ahead in Games 1 and 3 playing the facilitators. That's when he's at his best. So I think that's good for Weibo too. But it's Ultra Prime in the end, you know?
Yeah. So let's look forward here. I want to start theory crafting a bit. Producer Adam, if we could... ever quick, you could throw up the playoff bracket. I know it is very blank, but I want to use it to kind of talk about what the playoffs are going to start to look like a bit more here, Cubby, because the fun part about how the actual playoff starts is you can see all these TBAs and these question marks, right?
They pick.
That's because they get to pick. And now that we've had 2 Group Nirvana teams come through and upset Group Ascend teams, how much are Weibo happy about that, knowing that, I mean, face value, right? You'd expect them to be picked 3rd, if potentially even 4th, right?
Well, yeah, they are the 5th seed. So you would expect them to be up against AL, especially with what EDG and NIP making it through. I don't think that we're choosing to face Weibo over either of those 2 teams.
I would not think so either.
So yeah, I mean, if LGD pulls off a miracle tomorrow, we'll see. But I think that we're going to have Weibo against AL in that first round, which, look, might be interesting. Like, AL is a team that I think a lot of LPL fans are just hoping show up for playoffs, like when it is time to push the shove and be that team that did win Split 2, that was in the Split 1 finals. But yeah, I mean, we have given AL some grace just given what they've accomplished throughout the season, and they have not been that same team so far in the regular season. So we'll see if Weibo can maybe have a surprise. Again, I think the biggest positive for them is that it was a really nice series from Xiaohu. And Shanks, for me, has struggled to split on AL, so maybe that's a positive. But yeah, this series wasn't close. This was
no.
What happens when, you know, the quote that I like to use a lot in Sports Slayer, and I feel like it very much applied today, and that is, form is temporary, but class is forever. And they got outclassed today over there in Ultra Prime. I fear that Weibo outclassed them.
Yeah, that is the layman's terms way to put it. But again, for Weibo now, securing top 8, if they can find themselves a series win here, it doesn't have to be against, maybe the proverbial AL we're assigning them to right now for the playoffs. It can be in the lower bracket. But if you can grab, a sixth place spot, you're very likely in that regional qualifier. And I just really, again, want to punch
That's
home
true.
further for newer LPL fans. Weibo in the regional qualifier for Worlds historically is a different beast, no matter what their Split 3, no matter what their year looked like on the calendar.
It likens to the power that Cloud9 had with the regional gauntlet over here in NA and finding that 3 seed. It really does.
Yep.
When looking at the history of Weibo, Xiaohu being a part of that too.
Every time.
Keep in mind that 2023 squad, that was a gauntlet team that ended up making it to World Finals. Shout out to the bracket draw. That might have helped a little bit there too. But yeah, Weibo, again, this is a team where it hasn't looked like they're going to make it to Worlds with what we've seen from the LPL regular season. They are the 5 seed. They would be sitting outside of the Worlds picture if we take our top 4 Ascension teams. But this is a team, you look at the names, they liken to international competition and history. So Weibo going to look to continue to change the tide in their favor throughout these playoffs, and we'll see if they can do so. As it's going to be, I think, a challenging series against AL, who have really proven a lot of strategic diversity and best of 5s that a lot of our LPL teams have actually struggled to meet. So we'll see if Weibo can dig deep and make sure that AL they can at least challenge them and make that a long series.
We'll have to see. It's exciting that it's so close around the corner, but right in front of us now, Cubby, does the Spring Tiger, does the General get your player of the game here to end this series?
I mean, it was very much deserved in Game 1. We'll see in Game 3. I think that it's a little bit more contested this time around, but okay, still going to go.
No, it is not.
It's the bald man of Destiny in the Rise and our Spring Tiger and Xiaohu, who has really showed up in a lot of summers. I will say, I don't know what else we have on the show before we wrap up, Slayer, but would be a decent idea to maybe flash that championship points graphic that we have.
Sure.
While we are talking about. Because I think it is important. We don't have it updated since, of course, the series was just played.
Yes.
But when we flew this at the start of the day, we did say that Team WE, they're out of the race to actually make it into that regional gauntlet. Because you can see, given the split 3 points being bigger, a little bit more to give. Team WE, they don't find themselves in getting enough points in split 3 to continue. So Weibo, they're still in the mix. And with a win today, they do guarantee themselves some more points. So they actually move up the chain a little bit. At least guaranteed 35 total. So again, if JDG, if they lose tomorrow, it would be really big for Weibo in terms of securing that regional gauntlet slot, which you will need to secure. You can see the winner of this split auto qualifies for Worlds, and then we have to get into some of those World qualifiers because nothing else is guaranteed.
If you're in the grand finals,
the winner in the top 2, yeah.
So Weibo. That's also why I feel like it's unfortunate that AL or a lower seeded team with how their split 3 has been, because now we're picturing Weibo match up against them.
Yeah.
But what's really important here, even if Weibo get knocked down a lower bracket, they are very much likely to be playing an NIP or an EDG, and those are, outside of JDG, the direct threats to knock them out of Worlds qualifiers. So
that's interesting, actually.
Yeah. So if they win a series against NIP or EDG, lock themselves 5th, 6th, by winning that first lower bracket series, Weibo will secure themselves another Worlds qualifiers.
My head's there. My head's also in terms of like drafting the teams, right? Because we pick with the first 4 seeds.
So by the way.
Those picks could actually really matter in terms of how that lower bracket could potentially look and finding one of those matchups too, Slayers. So when that bracket draw does happen I believe after our series tomorrow, that's going to have to be something that we keep tabs on because that could be, it's going to have a lot of ramifications for that end of the year gauntlet if we do end up getting one of those matchups in these playoffs.
So much fun theory crafting, but the best part, again, all of this stuff is right around the corner. We only have one more play-in series ahead of us before our final playoff bracket. With all the world's qualifications and titles in front of us, it is finally here. But before we get there, before we close out our show, many of you know if you've been here at the LPL English, we have one very important thank you to throw to some very special people near and dear to our hearts. So thank you very much to our elite coffee supporters. That would be Aaron Soup, that would be Mong, Forest Without, and owners of Asil Morel as well. Their pledged financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an English LPL product every day. And Cubby, it makes me proud to say that as a crew holistically, every single day has covered so many days by where we are now. Officially, like you mentioned,
we have
September. So many days.
It's crazy. It's been, again, thanks for everyone that shows up here every day to support us. But yeah, fortunate to have a big team of people behind us to make sure that you guys can see the LPL through this traditional broadcast lens. So very much appreciate it from everyone that helps us behind the scenes. A lot more than just me and Slayer that are part of this team. And always fun to be a part of this team and bring the action to you guys. So, one-sided series tonight, Slayer. That was so expected based on what we actually expected going in that it was unexpected. I could not have written a more expected series result than what I just saw. Fudge Prime versus Weibo, but that happens sometimes. It makes the chaos more fun when it does happen.
Yeah, it just builds up further for what is going to be the climactic Split 3 playoffs. But before we get there, we have one final play-in day tomorrow. That will be JD Gaming taking on LGD. We'll see if the Nirvana Ascend teams split 2-2 going into playoffs, or if we have a complete group Nirvana takeover besides Weibo. That one will be very fun. And
it is worth noting. I think you go back to Demacia Cup. I think LGD was one of the teams that actually took down JDG there when they had the bomb out. So.
All right.
We're going to have to look into that a little bit.
We'll look into that for next broadcast for sure. And I'm not going to spoil a single thing, but all I will say here is that final broadcast of the play-ins tomorrow is going to be a special one that you won't want to miss. So just take my word for it and tune in for that one. You mentioned, though, Cubby, some people besides you and I that made this broadcast work today. I want to shout them out. The lower third god himself, L3 God, Rare Adam, our awesome producer today. And then we also had Linda and Saturn backing us up on the socials and moderator teams. Shout out you two as well, as you help make sure everyone is a little less rambunctious in those chats and our nice clips make it to the Twitter airwaves. But with that, it is going to be a sayonara for myself and Cubby in the play-ins. We will both be able to see you guys in playoffs, not too soon, but until then, tune in for the final play-in game, and we will see you at Split 3 playoffs. Take care, everybody.